The 2019 Formula Drift Championship historically kicks off with a loud bang on the streets of Long Beach. A full field of 32 cars battle for prominence on the most dangerous track of the year. While Ryan Turk would nearly have a season-ending crash, Chris Forsberg, Forrest Wang, and Odie Bakchis would find their way to the podium, but it was Odie who stood on top. Odie continued his winning ways as he upped his qualifying acumen and continued to arguably be the series' most dominant chase driver. The Falcon driver is now 2 for 2. As the series headed a short distance away to the world-famous Road Atlanta, some of the 2018 contenders would re-emerge and stake their claim. In the end, it was Frederick Osbo and Ryan Turk in the finals, with James Dean in third. Crashes, controversy, and 100-point runs were the story of Wall Speedway, as well as another final with Osbo and Turk.
Put the back end of that pony right on the wall. 100!
This time, Osbo was outmatched by Ryan Turk, who looks as good as he's ever been. Now with 4 events in the books, the world's best drifters head to the Pacific Northwest at Evergreen Speedway, a track known for turning the tables on would-be hopefuls, who will assert themselves as the series leader. Let's find out right now, only at the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship.
Welcome, Drift fans. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone. This is round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. We are just outside of Seattle in Monroe, Washington. Again, for round 5, I'm Jarod, DeAnda. I'm joined once again by my co-host and confidant and friend, Ryan Sage. Ryan, what do you make overall of Evergreen Speedway and this track? And it's been a while as well. All the way, it seems like New Jersey was months ago.
Yeah, this is the biggest break we've had of the season so far, and it's great to come here to Evergreen Speedway. We've obviously been coming here for a number of years. This track has some subtleties and some differences. It's unique, and the fans are just unbelievable here, and it's looking like it's going to be a great weekend because weather can always be a challenge at this venue, but it looks like it's going to be sunny and cool and great conditions for an overall event.
Yeah, and again, round 5, so we're over the hump officially now as we are here for round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. But yeah, once again, great to see you, Ryan, and yeah, I do agree. The fans get loud. They're well educated because we have a lot of equity here. They've seen a lot of turning and burning. We've seen some amazing moments here between, you know, great successes and some big hits. Yeah. So let's take a look back at round 4 in New Jersey, where one Ryan Turk, he got second in Atlanta, but then he rose to the occasion, literally and figuratively, taking down the former champ Frederick Osbo.
Well, it really has been the Turk and Osbo show the past 2 rounds, finding themselves in the finals not only at Road Atlanta, but here in New Jersey. Osbo was able to take out Turk at Road Atlanta, and Ryan Turk got him back here and was able to get that win, the first one since 2015 for him. So he is climbing up the polls here as drivers are really trying to track down who is now the leader in the championship, Frederick Osbo, but by a very small margin. And we can't forget the first 2 rounds went to Odie Bakchis, and he really was the dominant driver in the series. But now we're starting to get into the mix here. We've gone through that halfway point, and we're really starting to see how the championship is going to shape up.
Yeah, the variety of, you know, winners and the variety of on the podium. You know, last year was so dominated by James Dean and Frederick Osbo. Now you're seeing Odie Bakchis, who's always been a contender. He's always been there. And like you said, wins round 1, round 2, shaking up with Osbo, now Turk. But this track, I think you really need to bring all of your weaponry to this gunfight,
sure,
right? I mean,
you
got the big bank, you got the power rally, and then it tightens up towards the end. So I'm really excited about this event, and like you said, the weather is going to be absolutely stunning.
No question about it, for sure.
All right, so let's take a look at our top 5 standings. And again, we talk about Odie Bakchis. He was leading at some point, but then boom, Frederick Osbo. But look at that, like you said, Ryan, just a very, very small margin. Frederick Osbo, Odie Bakchis, Ryan Turk with that 2nd place finish in Atlanta, and that is notable because of, again, jump ahead here, but now with the new track, you know, we announced the track variety at St. Louis, so you got to start thinking about that. You got to start thinking about Under the Lights in Texas, and then of course ending in Irwindale. But you know what? First things first. We're here in Seattle, what I like to call the battle in Seattle, but this is the Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone. Before we bring in Ryan Lanteigne, one of the 3 judges, let's throw it over to Chris Forsberg. He's got a Black Magic clip tip.
What's up, everybody? I'm Chris Forsberg. We're out here at Formula Drift Round 5 in Monroe, Washington, Evergreen Speedway, which is the fastest track that we run at. It's got the biggest bank and also has one of the smallest turns on the FD circuit. But in between those, we have the power alley. As you come off the bank, you're going about 80 miles an hour, full throttle, full commitment. You get a small braking zone at the end of the outer bank, and then you have to come in, change your angle, change your speed, and hit this, very difficult to see, box on the ground. This is the touch and go 1. And we actually don't have any clipping points out here on track because they would just be getting punted all day long. So we just have this little yellow box painted on the ground that we have to see at full speed, full commitment. But we'll get the job done. It's gonna be an awesome show.
All right, and we're back here with Judge Ryan Lanteigne. Now, Ryan, it's been about a month and a half since we had an event. We're up here in the Pacific Northwest. Let's first talk about the event format that we're about to see here today for qualifying.
Today is qualifying, like you said. So we're going to have each driver go out and do 2 non-consecutive runs. They're going to get a score for each run, and they're going to keep the higher score of the 2. And then we're going to have 32 drivers move on to head-to-head competition. Any ties that we have will be broken according to the lower qualifying score.
All right, now let's take a look at the track map and some of the point structure for line and angle, how you guys have allocated that. Give us a brief overview there of what the fans are seeing.
Here you see the 6 sectors that we have on this track, all color-coded. The first outside zone is broken into 2 sectors because it is so big. Everything's worth 5 points each for a total of 30 for line and angle. Now the important points on this track, of course that outside zone 1 needs to be filled from beginning to end. Filling it really deep at the end has become something I've been watching from the drivers. It's difficult to get that zone filled all the way to the very end of it. Then getting to the touch and go, the drivers just need to dip their back tire into that box, get as close to the outside edge, but they can get out of it immediately. They don't have to fill that whole area. Then they need to fill outside zone 2, get nice and tight on those inside clips. If they hit those inside clips, it's an automatic -2 for the line judge right there.
All right, now as we move on to the decel map, the ever-important decel map, let's talk about where those are on the track. There's 3 that you guys have indicated, but some in this track seem to be a little bit more important in head-to-head than others. Break that down.
That first one that you see just after outside zone 1 before the touch and go is one that is not used by every driver. It's just kind of there as an indication that maybe somebody might lift there, it might be a slight handbrake, but for the most part the drivers are going to be using the second decel zone the most as they rotate the car after the touch and go. That's where they should decel for that. We don't want to see them slowing down in the touch and go. We talked about this in the meeting. We're very specific about that. So when they throw angle for outside zone 2, that's where they should be slowing down with that angle. Going by inside clip 1, then getting the car rotated for inside clip 2, a slight lift there as well. So the main one on this track is going to be the second one at outside zone 2.
Individuality and style are very important in drifting. It makes up 40% of the overall score in qualifying. So when you guys are judging style, you're talking about fluidity and commitment. What exactly does that mean here at Evergreen Speedway?
So fluidity and commitment. Fluidity is worth 20 points. It refers to the rotation of the car on its own axis. So how quick, how smooth, and how accurate the rotation is from zone to zone, from clip to clip. And then the commitment side of things, also worth 20 points, is dealing more with the forward momentum of the car. So how well the drivers are using the momentum to fill all the zones. So that's going to be really important coming from outside zone 1 to the touch and go. They want to use their momentum and their speed. They want to maintain it through there, then throw the car, and then use that momentum and speed built up to fill outside zone 2. Getting through the rest of the course, pretty simple on the commitment side of things, but really more important for the fluidity as the car rotates from side to side.
And I'm sure because it's a longer run-up track, we're going to be talking a lot about the initiation and how important that is here at this track to get set up properly. But before we get to that and talk about other things, let's go to the incompletes that we have here for qualifying.
So during qualifying, we have 3 main incompletes, which would be spinning out, drifting in the opposite direction anywhere on the course, and anything latchable opening, so hood, hatch, trunk, doors. Of course, a major straight would be also an incomplete, but for the most part, that's what we're going to be looking at giving incompletes for.
All right, well, thank you, Ryan. We're going to be checking in with you from time to time as we go through qualifying. You're watching the Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone, and this is round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. Up next is qualifying.
Welcome everybody out here to Evergreen Speedway Round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone. We're officially turning and burning with qualifying here. This is Casual Friday, tomorrow being game day here of Round 5 of 8 of the FD Championship. Look at that, Austin 316. Get a bird's eye view here as Austin will be our first vehicle to qualify in that ferocious Motorsports Cadillac ATS-V. He comes with us from Inman, South Carolina. And here comes Mr. Meeksies, Austin Meeks, for his first qualifying run. Look at that, blends right in perfectly. Look at that, color coordinated with the wall. Here we go, Austin Meeks throws it in. It is big bank here. Leaves a little bit of room for comfort. Now comes down. The judge want to see them riding the wall. That gets out to that touch and go, hit it, quit it. Now that outside zone there, you want to fill that in its entirety. Got the second hash mark on the front clips. They'll also be deducted 2 points for hitting the inside cones. He does not do that. But Austin Meeks with a full pull there. Ryan, again, a good way to start qualifying.
Well, you got the 3-2-1 cones there. He gets initiated right at that second standing cone. Back on the throttle here, trying to reach up deep into that bank as we bring him into view here. Now coming down off the bank, you can see a little bit of understeer happening. Has to kick it back out there. That touch and go area, Jarod, remember the judges said you just have to get in there at any point and then be able to draw a nice smooth line out to the second outside zone, wrap through that inside clip, and then finish it off. So we know Austin Meeks has got a better run in him there. Made a couple little mistakes, but certainly can improve on run number 2. And of course, Jarod, we have 4 missing drivers this weekend, so there will be some open spots at the top for number 1 and number 2 qualifier.
Actually, a total of 6 drivers from the beginning of the season to now, because Alex Hilbrun, he's not here either.
Correct, yeah.
So yeah, Hilbrun, Sebastian Gauthier, Joao Berrion, Alec Honadel, and a shout out to Honadel. And hope you're feeling better, buddy. If you haven't been following Honadel, he's been some more medical treatment for a condition he's had since he was younger. So a shout out to you, buddy. Hope you're getting better, you and the Honadel family. Mitch Larner and Manuel Vaca. So we are waiting for the score to come in from our 3 judges: Brian Eggert, Andy Yen, and Ryan Lanteigne. Yeah, we're waiting on the judges. Always love. I mean, one of the most unenviable positions here in the Formula Drift family. So, okay. And again, our next driver on the start line. All right, our next driver there on the line. You can see just behind him, Kyle Mohan warming up the tires. But on the line is Kevin Lawrence, Injuku Racing, BC Racing, S14.3. All right, waiting for the scores here, and they'll be coming in shortly with our first driver. Getting a different perspective here this event. We're just going to have the bird's eye view as Austin Meeks' score comes in. 69, dude. There we go. So Austin Meeks with a 69 on his first score. 69 for Austin Meeks. Here goes K-Log, Kevin Lawrence leaving the start line. This is Injuku S14.3. Initiates at that last cone. Nice job by him. Really ripping through the course right now. Solid job. The car looks very settled. Big angle here. Fails to get out to the touch and go. Does hit that second outer zone, fills all that. You see a little bit of hiccup there. Again, the judges talked about hitting those inside clips. They will be deducted 2 points. So if that is 5 points total on that inside clip, he'll be minus 2 points. So leaving some points out there on the field.
So Kevin Lawrence on the replay there, getting that nice initiation. Pretty high on the bank here, good angle as he tries to maintain that line, trying to keep the car stable here, coming down off the bank towards that edge of the zone, through the power alley, just misses that touch and go. He's on the inside there, e-brake pull as he wraps through this inside clip and just pushes it out of the way there as he finishes up this last corner here, pushing out wide and finishing it up.
All right, you can see this overhead view here of Kevin Lawrence. Obviously very tight on that first inside clip of the second hash mark there. That final one as Kevin Lawrence waits for his score. Again, Austin Meeks with that 69. A beautiful day out here at Evergreen. Be sure to hashtag FDSEA. If your friends can't make it out here, let them know you are in the building or you're watching around the globe. So share the link on Facebook. Go to formulad.com and again, link it up, watch it, and share it. Let everyone know we are live. The battle in Seattle, as I like to call it. Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone. You can see, again, had some rain yesterday, and we've had some rainy events, and I believe it's going to be even a little warmer tomorrow. I think it's going to be about 78, 80. And scores coming in. There's Kevin Lawrence with a 76. So 76 jumps ahead Austin Meeks and is our new leader. But only two drivers having their qualifying run. So next up, Kyle the Menace Mohan, a new dad. Shout out to him and his wife. So Kyle Mohan, the American Ethanol Mazda Tricks Mazda RX-8 on Nexen tires. As here is Mohan. And Mohan, the lone rotary in competition, a Formula Drift staple. Love to see Kyle Mohan get on the box, and here we go. Mohan with his Mazda RX-8. Down that back straight and initiates right at that last cone, and that's exactly where it needs to be. You can hear the killer bees coming down that big bank. Very good, clean line there. Just barely dips a toe into that touch and go, really feeling that second outer zone, tight to that front clip. Now transitioning through that chicane. Well executed there, Kyle Mohan. Would like to see more angle from him on the big bank, but definitely continued to stay high, Ryan.
Well, let's take a look here. He initiates and looks like he really slows down. You don't see the smoke really starting to generate till about midway through the bank. Maybe fighting the car a little bit here as he leaves that first outside zone. Remember, that's broken up into two parts there. A little bit shallow there on that touch and go area. It does get to that inside clip and wrapping around here to the final section of the course, pushing through. So a little bit of struggle there from Kyle on the first half of the course. And a good thing he's got an opportunity here to get that second run in.
As Ryan said, as you stated earlier, Ryan, we have quite a few drivers missing from the beginning of the season. So the top two qualifiers will automatically have a bye run from today into tomorrow's top 16. So the Fast Orange qualifying here, very important, especially for those with the points leads or in the top 5, contenders for the championship. That'll make your day a little bit easier tomorrow. Again, if you qualify either first or second. So if everybody who is here in the building or in the grid qualifies, the top two qualifiers will have automatic buys into tomorrow's top 16. Okay, and scores are coming in. Dylan Hughes on the line. He is in that Permatex BMW, and there's Mohan with a 63. A 63 for Kyle Mohan. We have Dylan Hughes on the line. He's on Achilles tires on the corners of his Permatex BMW. And here comes D. Hugh, throws it down. He's from the Pacific Northwest himself. Really tight and intimate to that wall. Look at that. Nice job, the highest we've seen so far. Really locking up that back. You can see him yanking that e-brake. Gets out to the touch and go, out to that second outer zone. About the first hash mark there. I'm going to take a look at the instant replay, Ryan, but a solid run. I think we have a new leader here in qualifying. Dylan Hughes, a great run for him. Again, maiden voyage for him here in pro competition.
Yeah, good start. You can see he got that initiation at that third standing cone, so very early initiation. He got settled right away, locked into that angle, nice and high up on the bank. There's an e-brake pull to get himself off of the bank. Now coming down in the touch and go, he gets in there early, leaves early, but he's still able to fill that outside zone, drawing that smooth line into the first inside clip, and then a good transition back around. You can see no real punctuation in the smoke line, was showing that he was not getting on the brakes or releasing the throttle, so a good run there. I expect this to be our #1 qualifier so far.
Ryan, what do you think of Dylan Hughes, jumping from Pro 2 to Pro, that new car? I mean, a lot of new things for him, but overall, Dylan Hughes.
Yeah, I'm really happy that he decided to do it, and talking with him at Road Atlanta, it seemed like he was very encouraged and really wants to give it the best effort that he can this year, and we've seen some great driving from him. You know, he had a couple issues at Long Beach that prevented him from getting very far in competition, but I certainly think he's well suited to the pro class.
Yeah, overall, definitely a force and one to watch for years to come. And you know, made the jump from Pro 2 to Pro alongside that of Travis Reeder as well. And as we're waiting for his score, there it is, an 89. So really strong right out of the gate. Make some noise for Dylan Hughes. Next up, the exotic car, the Triple F drifting department. Next in tire, Ferrari 599 Fiorella, as it's called, driven by Federico Sciarifo. As Federico initiates, again, the Ferrari 599. Beautiful looking car, and then let's try to throw it up against the wall. Doing a good job. Could be a little bit closer there. Feels all that touch and go. Hangs it out. About the third hash mark. Could definitely get closer there as he transitions around that final front clip and brings it on in. So Federico, a very talented driver all across the globe.
Let's take a look at his run here. You can see he got that D-brake pull initiation right into the bank. Now starting to wind himself really deep, but he comes off a little bit early here. Then he pushes out to those 3 red markers on the wall, which indicate the end of the outside zone. Got a lot of angle there through the touch and go. Slowed down a little bit, lost some momentum there. But as he wraps through this final inside clip, keeps the throttle on and pushes through the finish line for run number 1.
All right, as Federico finishes out his run, and again, Ryan rapping out about it. Again, I think there's a good opportunity for him, but keeping it safe, keeping it off the wall. Yesterday in practice, I know Ryan Littoral got into the wall. As next up, we'll be seeing Taylor Hall, another Cadillac ATSV here in competition. And there's Federico's score, a 79. A 79 for Federico Sciarifo and the Ferrari 599. Dressed to impress with that suit there, the bow tie. Looks like he's ready to go to a banquet, ready to go to the ball. And he will be seeing competition tomorrow. Next up, Taylor Hall. At Comp Cams, Achilles Tires, another Cadillac ATSV here in the mix. Coming to us all the way from Georgia. Getting sick with it right now as pours more and more angle at it. Again, about the same distance as we've seen from some of the other drivers. See him yanking that e-brake, locking him up, causing to bring that back end of the vehicle tighter to both the touch and go and that second outer zone, just barely glancing that Black Magic clip, but a solid run there from Taylor Hall.
Well, Taylor blasting down the front straight, initiates right past that second standing cone. He's kind of mid-high line on the bank here, trying to work his way up, keep that angle consistent. Pretty smooth line there. He kind of stayed pretty much in the same place on the bank. He gets it right and early into that touch and go and gets off in time to draw a smooth line out to that outside zone. Rips through those final 2 inside clips, and you can say he's also pretty much on the throttle through the finish line. There he is coming through the touch and go. You can see just a little bit early off of outside zone 2. But overall, a good run here from Taylor Hall, and definitely will have a well-scored run in the books.
All right, Taylor Hall awaiting his score. And next up on the line, Rad Dan Burkett. He took a hard hit in New Jersey. Built a new vehicle here in this Rad Industries Next Entire Toyota Supra. Great looking vehicle. And talk about progression. Oh, and look at that. Taylor Hall with an 83. An 83 for Taylor Hall. A great score for the Georgian driver. And Dan Burkett, clear to send. The mulleted one. Let's see what you got, Burkett. Again, always definitely a stylish driver and has progressed over the years. Initiates right there at that last clip, really tight to that wall. Again, went hard into a New Jersey, potentially a little bit gun shy, but doesn't seem to be the case. All the way out to that touch and go, hammering down. You can hear the throttle. Big angle, looks like he doesn't set himself up for success on that first inside clip, but now dials it in on the second. But Ryan, very clean exhaust note. You can hear him just throwing a brick on the pedal.
Yeah, one of the most exciting drivers to watch this season, and also some great content being produced by Dan. Really amazing driver, great team, and trying to lock in a good position here in qualifying. You can see as he comes off the bank, he's just going to get the rear wheels right at the edge of the touch and go, and a little bit too much momentum pushes him out wide on that first inside clip. He does bring it back around for the second inside clip, so a couple little mistakes there. And we know, Jarod, that the power alley is coming off the bank into the power alley and through that outside zone is one of the more critical parts of this track, and certainly plays a huge role in success in the head-to-head side of things. So for Dan, he will have a run in the books. We'll see how it scores.
All right, as Dan Burkett, 79. A 79 there for Dan Burkett. And that Rad Industries Nexen Tire Toyota Supra. All right, here comes Matt Kaufman. This Ford Roush Yates powered S13. Matt Kaufman, the 959. Keeley's tires, 240SX. Matt Kaufman from Central Point, Oregon, as into the bank, really consistent. Listen to that thing purr. Gets out to a touch and go. We've seen some great things from him here at this course. Yes, he's definitely ripped it around here quite a few times. Looks very comfortable, and Matt Kaufman just really putting it down. Ryan, I don't know if you remember a few years ago, just really throwing it down.
Yeah, he's had some success here. You can see mid-high line on the bank, looking for an exit here, coming down off of the first outside zone. Great throttle control, beautiful through that touch and go area, out to that outside zone, right up between the first and second hash mark on inside clip 1, and right through inside clip number 2. He goes to the widest part of the course and finishes up nice and strong. Look at this right here, just those tires right into the touch and go, and that smooth, fluid transition. You can see he's back on the throttle pretty early there, and a great run number 1 from Matt Kaufman.
Solid run there. How are we doing out there? Again, some people skipping work for joining us here. 87. So Dylan Hughes still atop the heap, but a really good score from the driver from Oregon, Central Point. Next up, Dirk Stratton, the Lingenfelter Fortune Auto Achilles Radial Stratton Chevrolet Corvette C6. Ryan, did you see the new Corvette being debuted yesterday? All the buzz, the mid-engine?
Yeah.
What do you think of it? Am I going to get one? I mean, if you're behind me one, sure.
Sweet.
I'll drive it. Thanks, bro. I appreciate that. That's my bonus.
There you go.
Yeah, for delivering 16 years, get a brand new vet. That's what you get, kids. What do you think of it?
Dope.
Yeah,
Power.
dope. You're backing it?
Yeah, that's Matt Field's next car.
Oh, yeah? Is that or why couldn't it be Dirk Stratton's?
Could be Dirk, could be anybody.
All right, yeah, okay. Good talk. All right, here we go. Dirk Stratton here in his Corvette C6. I know they've been having some issues with their blower belt, but doesn't seem to be having any issues right now. Dropping down into that touch and go, fills all of it. You can see him now picking right back up, ripping it right into that first inner clip and the second. Well done there, Dirk Stratton. Again, I know in practice, like I said, they were throwing some blower belts, but doesn't seem to be an issue now.
Well, taking a look at that initiation, you can see that smoke line starting to develop here about a quarter way through after his initiation, looking for this exit point coming off the bank, gets into this touch and go, leaves it at the right time. Nice fluid movement to the outside zone, beautifully done on that inside clip. Love this transition here, just nice and fluid all the way through the track. A great run there by Dirk Stratton starting things off. Look as he comes down off of the bank, Jarod, from the drone. You can see the line from the touch and go to outside zone 2, just really smooth and crisp. He kind of angled up there, but he made it look really nice.
Yeah, it was fluid.
And I think that was a pretty solid run for him overall.
Does that knock down the 89? Look at this shot overhead. Dirk Stratton with an 87, so he does not knock down Dylan Hughes, still our leader so far. And again, changing perspective, we had Johnny FPV at previous rounds and a different drone driver for, drone pilot, Ryan Littoral. Ryan Littoral on the start line. The Power Stop Koru Works Nissan 350Z. Great looking car. It's about to get lit from Riverside, California. 909-951, the IE. As Littoral throws it in. LS powered vehicle. Wow, really riding the wall there, Littoral. You can see some shimming from him, but sticks it to the wall. Ooh, goes over the line, but now brings it on back. And about the first hash mark on the first inner clip, and right on that second, a really solid run. Like I said, it's about to get lit, and he lit the torch.
Let's take a look at this replay here as Ryan Littoral gets his campaign started here in run number 1. Flowing really deep into the zone. A little bit of movement there from the car, and we talked about how critical it is coming off the bank. You can see he kind of slides, loses some angle onto the front wheels there. And that section of the course, definitely one of the most challenging coming off the bank. Gets it together here for the second half and whips through that finish line, but you can see right here, loses a bit of angle, drops that one tire off of course, and does a much better job there on that outside zone. But we'll certainly receive some deduction there coming off the bank into the first touch and go area.
Ryan Littoral scoring a 79 for Ryan Littoral. And no beanie on right now, and no beard as well. So going for the clean-shaven look there, Mr. Littoral. All right, here we go. You can see Dylan Hughes atop the heap. This is one of his great friends, Travis Reeder. Travis Reeder, pilot of the Napoleon Motorsports vehicle, the electric Camaro, not being campaigned here this weekend, but the Nitto tires. Seems like I saw some videos online. He says he's getting some more horsepower out of this S13, and it seems to be working out for Reeder. Really tight to that clip. And again, essentially, this is his home track. Oh, man, and I believe that will be an incomplete. Ryan, very unfortunate turn of events there for Travis Reeder. Could be our first incomplete run.
Well, he got hung up a bit there, didn't he? And started off the run really strong. We've seen him perform super well in this car that he's extremely comfortable with. Coming down off the bank, you can see that smooth line. He gets into the touch and go. He's back on throttle early, keeps that momentum up. Now on the transition here, big angle, the rear end starts to go. He holds it together. I think they might potentially score that, but it'll certainly be a big deduction in points in that particular sector. You can see he's got big angle, big angle, big angle, big angle, and then he starts to unwind it. So
I don't know,
the only thing that they would probably, if they zeroed it out, it would be because of an unchaseable lead rather. So
yeah.
And it is, yeah.
Yeah,
you're
so
right.
Unfortunately, Reeder, that will be an incomplete. And yeah, because, you know, was it last event or 2 events ago when you had that whole, I don't say controversy, but basically it came up in the driver's meeting. You need to finish all the way through. I mean, that's not on driver's left. That's right in the center, straightened out. If somebody was right on him, he would have just ran right into him. So that's how you really define it. Next up, Jonathan Castro, just coming off a victory in his home country of Dominican Republic in this Jarod Metaldan Toyota Racing 86. Very locked and loaded. Look at that. Solid like a rock. Oh, and unfortunately Castro goes way off course. What happened there? Let's take a look at this again here, Ryan. That will definitely be an incomplete, unfortunately, for Castro.
Well, the bank once again claiming a victim there, this time in a much more sizable mistake. As you mentioned, it'll certainly be an incomplete. And Jarod, we know that trying to find that right line, getting right up against the wall, and the exit, ever so important to get out to the touch and go, but still maintain momentum through the power alley. Castro looking pretty good. He's on a mid-high line. And then right here, watch the front end. He's going to start coming off the bank. He angles up, then he has to pull out. Understeer goes off course. And unfortunately, way off course with that mistake. That will be an incomplete, as you mentioned. But for Jonathan Castro, the pressure will be on for run number 2. But all he does need to do is receive a score to get into the top 30 for tomorrow.
Yeah, unfortunate for Castro. That will be an incomplete. You can see it's very apparent there. Just comes off that bank and overcooks it. And there it is. It's official. Jonathan Castro with an incomplete. He'll have to lock it in on his second run as we move on to Jeff Jones. Jeff Jones currently sitting 19th overall in points in standings. And there's Jeff Jones. All right, here we go. Jeff Jones warming up his tires, pulling to the line. Love the way Jeff Jones has just progressed over the years, and always a fun driver to watch. Jeff Jones in the Doc Falcon tires, Nissan 370Z. Let's see what you got, Mr. Jones. Edelbrock, supercharged LS. Nissan 370, excuse me, Nexen tires. I apologize. He's on Nexen tires. Yeah, Jeff. Really going for it. NRG Innovations, steering wheel in his hands. Dials it in on that inner clip. Now transitions, knocks over that final inside clip. There will be a point deduction there for Jones. Again, that was mandated by the judges.
Well, Jeff has certainly given us a lot of highlights over the years, including some great off-track stuff. Let's see how he does here on track, coming down off the bank. Little bit of an adjustment there. He doesn't get out to that touch and go. Reaches wide to get to that outside zone. Better on that inside clip. And as he finishes up the run here, leaves a couple little points on the table there, so he'll have run number 2. Here he is coming off of the bank into the power alley. You can see he comes up a little bit short there on that touch and go, Jarod. And I'm reminded of the Kyle Mohan, Jeff Jones floss, the infamous floss last year.
That was here.
That popped into the live stream. So I'm sure he's got a few more dance moves to show us, but for now he's got a 74.
Who sings the song, Did You Leave Your Keys on the Table? Just, you know, you wanted to, right? Never mind. I'll go back to them. 74, 74. Yeah, System of a Down. That's right. Thank you. When he says, right, leaving the points on the table, I wanted to. All right, dumb dad jokes. Leave it to me. Kazuya Taguchi, who has really risen to the occasion with this new vehicle. Tried to campaign a GTR, just never really worked out for him, but this S15 is exactly what the doctor ordered. So Taguchi having his way with the course, initiates just before that final clip, or right before the final initiation point, and really tight to that wall. Like I said, the up garage Achilles tire, S15, now transitions back, boom, right on it. Look at that dragon bumper, shedding some skin, like he's molting out there on track, transforming into a beautiful butterfly. Well done, Kazuya Taguchi. Yeah.
Well, the 89 from Dylan Hughes has held strong so far. Who is going to challenge him? Will it be Kazuya Taguchi? Gets that nice initiation. You can see the smoke line was developing early. He got really tight up against the wall. Pretty smooth here, coming down off the bank, right into that touch and go with the tires, and then out to that outside zone, and you can see right up against that outside zone. Loses the bumper there, but still drives through, and a great run there by Kazuya Taguchi overall. The judges want to see those wheels and tires get right into that outside touch and go, and beautifully done there without making a big correction, as he does tap the wall on that outside zone. So great job.
Do you think that beats Dylan Hughes? Dylan Hughes, our current leader, with an 89. Do you think that beats an 89?
I think it's going to be pretty close.
It's in the 90s, our first driver in the 90s? No, he does not. An 88, Ryan. You said it's close.
Yeah.
But you were like,
I didn't tell you which way.
Oh, okay.
Right?
Whatever, guy. Okay.
Right? That's what you're getting upset about. I didn't tell you which way.
I'm not getting upset. I'm not getting upset, Ryan. I'm calmer than you.
Calmer than you are.
I'm not getting upset, Ryan. Is that your real name, Ryan? All right, here we go. Dean Carnage Carney. Most recently saw him out at Chichester, England, out in Goodwood. And here he is in his turbocharged Oracle lighting, Achilles tire, Dodge Viper. Set it and forget it, the Oracle lights. Not so much needed, but still looking good here in the beautiful Evergreen Speedway. You can see him locking up that front left. Zeroing in the Dodge Viper, and then across the finish line. And there we go. Yeah, very smoky. Our judges make an observation here, Ryan Lanteigne. So let's look at it again here, Ryan.
Well, here we go. Starting off strong from Dean Carney. You can see nice and high on the bank. Pretty consistent here. Take a look at the front wheels. He's keeping that angle nice and tight. Now coming down off of the bank, just getting into that touch and go. Comes off a little bit short on that second outside zone. And as he wraps through this final inside clip here, almost looks like, I think he may have debeated right towards the end. Looks like I saw the inside of his rim. Let's take a look at this again as he comes down. There he is, right into that touch and go. Nice snap back around. Watch the left rear wheel. It could be the tire smoke, but I think right
Is it?
there. Maybe. I don't know.
Just making
It doesn't
stuff
matter.
up, dude?
No, you're just trying to,
Just trying to talk and see what's going on there. Why don't you take off your glasses, Ryan? I don't know why I'm so hostile towards you today.
Yeah, there's a lot of hate.
I don't know what's going on here. I don't know. But look at that, an 83 and 83 there for Dean Carnage Carney. And 83, look at him, cool as ice. Atta boy, Carnage. Well done, Carnage. Next up, I want to give this gentleman a possum nickname, but there one already exists, and that's the Awesome Possum. That's Pat Merdaunt, because, he had Pat Jr., which was an adopted possum that he found on his step in Florida. But I like Passionate Pat. That just shows what kind of gentleman he is. Here we go. Pat Gooden throwing it down in his S15. That Vortex Supercharged LS S14.5. Yeah, Pat getting all the way out there. Let's see how he handles that. Just barely dips a tire tread into that touch and go. Fills all of that second outer zone. Nudges the Black Magic inner clip. There'll be a small deduction there, but locked and loaded, firing on all cylinders. Again, that V8 Supercharged S14.5.
Well, take a look at the initiation. You can see he got an early start there right past that third standing cone. He locks into this line and pretty much stays there all the way around. Does a great job there. Watch, he's going to come up just a little bit short on this touch and go. Just comes up right before that yellow line, but a much better job on that second outside zone. Just pushes that clip out of the way. So you can see a few areas where he made some mistakes, but he did a great job on the bank. Nice job on outside zone 2. Watch outside zone 2 here. You can see just fills it pretty much completely and is still able to get a nice line. Just a little bit tight on that inside clip, but this will be a good run for Pat. Scoreable, obviously, and he'll have run number 2 coming up shortly.
So Pat Gooden on those Achilles tires locks it in for an 87. An 87. You can see our Permatex Pro qualifying leaderboard, and coincidentally, Dylan Hughes in that Permatex BMW, our current #1 qualifier as we work our way through the running order. Currently sitting 14th in standings, FD veteran, the OG, Ken Gucci. Always throwing up that West Coast. Kitty gang, kitty gang. There we go. Ken Gucci initiates way early on that initiation point and really sticking it to the wall. Well done, that Gretty Toyota Racing, Toyota 86. Wow, massive angle on that outer zone. You saw him just maintain that angle going into that first inner clip and now brings it past the finish line. Ken Gucci gaining a lot of applause here in the building, lighting up those Falcon tires. So as you see Ken Gucci initiate, you can see those front wheels, a gift and a curse. When you have the white wheels, they really stand out, and you can see him just countering. Look at that. I mean, they are just immobile. Watch this massive angle there, Ryan.
Yeah, it's a great job by Ken, and I have to tell you, Jarod, that just personal anecdote here. Ken seems to be one of the more hungry drivers at the midway point in the season, really trying to get some solid results here. He's had a couple calls go against him, and he seems very, very hungry and a very aggressive first run here. I think this will be right up there with Dylan, may surpass him. So great job by Ken overall, who's been pretty consistently good in qualifying this year.
Ken Gucci waiting for a score. Yes, and it's a 94. There you go. So a 94 jumps up the veteran, the Black Magic #1 top qualifier. Who's going to be getting it?
Well, we should remind everybody what we saw last round, Jarod, the first 100-point qualifying run from Justin Pollock in New Jersey. really strong, phenomenal run, and many runs in the 90s, so it's likely that 94 will not hold if history is any indicator. And this driver up next is one of those guys that has been one of the top qualifiers this year, Daijiro Yoshihara, in the top 5 in Jersey in qualifying and known to go 95 plus pretty much every time.
Yeah, I mean, he's been here since day one. Another Formula Drift veteran in this Turn 14 distribution, Subaru BRZ, Ineos Oil, just coming off Pikes Peak, and now here he is throwing it down, coming off that bank. Wow, really gets that touch and go, flicks it nastily back to that second outer zone, tight to the inner clip. Wow, Dai Yoshihara looks like he's possessed as well. Again, these chassis, one Toyota, one BRZ, but this turbocharged LS setup here for Dai Yoshihara.
Well, yesterday in our drivers meeting, pretty much everybody concurred that the driving this year has gone up quite a few progressive steps, and we're seeing it here as we get into the top drivers, just how finely tuned they are entering this course. Dai showing just how smooth and silky consistent he's been this year in qualifying, finishing up the run very strong, very few mistakes there. He was deep into that outside zone. Does a great job getting into the touch and go. Nice snap back around. Maybe could have been 6 inches deeper into that outside zone, but tight on that inside clip. And then you see that smooth, fluid transition back around, staying on throttle and powering it through the finish line. Another solid run there from Daijiro Yoshihara.
Yeah, he threw it down, man. Definitely Falcon tires deep there on the Subaru BRZ as Dai Yoshihara. As Dai currently sits 13th overall, the former champ. And we have a couple champs here coming up as Essa, then move on through. But again, Frederick Osbo currently leading the pack as far as the standings after 4 rounds of competition. Odi Bakshi sitting in second, just 3 points behind Frederick Osbo. All right, scores coming in here from our judges. Our judges. Ryan, did you stay busy between round 4 and round 5 here?
Very busy.
Yeah, I saw you a couple times. 91, boom, there you go. Dai Yoshihara, a 91 for Dai Yoshihara.
Yeah, there's no such thing as summer anymore. Summer vacation.
Right. Yeah, and we were talking off about your, I don't want to call it antics, but unfortunate with the boat incident.
Oh, yes.
Oh, dude, I feel bad for you. Trying to relax.
The one free weekend.
Trying to relax and just dealing with the boat. All right, here we go. Mike Essa. Here we go. Michael Essa, Essa Autosports, Achilles tire, BMW. And look at that, another vehicle just poised. You can see that no corrections from those front wheels. Gets out to that touch and go. Oh, loses a lot of angle there on that second outer zone, but now seems to find the right code to dial it in there on the second and the second to last front clip, or excuse me, yeah, inner clip.
So we're seeing that smoke line develop pretty early here from Michael Essa right after initiation. He's pretty deep into that first outside zone. Gets that e-brake pull. He's going to get a second one right here just to get an adjustment right before that touch and go. Maybe comes up a little bit short there, nearly scraping the wall on that outside zone number 2, and then a quick whip into inside clip 1 and 2, finishing up strong there for Michael Essa. So let's take a look here. He just comes up a little bit short on that touch and go, but he's able to find a good line to that outside zone, and you can see perfect on that first hash mark on both of the inside clips towards the finish line. So Michael Essa will have a good run in the books and certainly something to build off for run number 2.
All right, it says Michael Essa here with an 88. An 88 for Michael Essa. Well done by him. And then just a correction there. I said Ken Gushi is actually on Achilles tire, so I apologize about that. So Ken Gushi on Achilles. As now I'm seeing Matt Field, of course, on the Falcon tires. It's Falcon tires. Borla exhaust, Corvette, the beast from the Bay. Let's see how the supercharged Vet handles the bank. Let's see that massive angle there, really flirting with the wall. And now through that power alley, gets out to the touch and go and that second outer zone. Into both inner clips he goes, so a well ran run. That's a tongue twister.
Well, look at Field here. He's got good angle in the car. He's really deep into the zone. And notice the back wheels do not stop at all. He really is confident coming through this section of the course, using the angle to slow the vehicle down. There's the one e-brake in that decel area there, but he gets nice and tight on that first and second inside clip. And this is a pretty solid run here for Matt Field. You saw he got that initiation. He drives right through the center section of that touch and go, makes it look nice and clean. Keeps the smoke line going as he transitions to the final section of the course and powers through the finish line there for Matt Field.
All right, the fans, a little sparse today, but we know they're going to get packed tomorrow. Thanks for joining us out here on qualifying day. Casual Fridays, I like to call it. It's a day where you can, lay your hair down a little bit, relax. Get to a meet and greet, the dedicated autograph signing happening later. And here's Matt Field score, 92, a 92 for Matt Field, a 92 for the 777 Beast from the Bay. You can feel the heat wave coming. Heat Wave, one of his sponsors, sunglasses and gear. As we are now into top 10. And Chelsea Denofa got into a little tussle earlier with one of the Wordhouse vehicles. Just pushed a little too hard, got the back end in, but surprisingly, he got to drive away. I was quite startled that didn't have more damage. A big, nasty initiation there from Chelsea Denofa. Denofa dropping the hammer. Yes, sir. Woo-wee. Look at that, out to the touch and go. Could have been a little deeper, but he didn't quit it. Gets him really locking it up, zeroing in. And there he brings it across the finish line. A good run there from Chelsea Denofa on the bank. Ryan, take a look at it on that second outer zone. Seemed like he stayed in it for quite a bit.
Well, there's a lot of commitment there. Notice the initiation right towards the wall. The deepest point in the bank, he kind of stays there right in the pocket. Gets a nice exit coming off of the bank from that first outside zone. Just touches the outside line of that touch and go. Huge angle here as he draws that wide, sweeping, looping turn to the final last two inside clips. And let's take a look at this, Jared. This is what happened during practice. You can see right in front here coming through the smoke line, and he's going to make contact there. And we did hear that I think the Wordhouse team said that they were debeating a tire in that area. I can't
really
confirm that 100%, but I did hear that from one of the spotters. And Denofa had to angle up to avoid contact there potentially. But nonetheless, the car did sustain some damage, but he's back out here. And now let's take a look at his qualifying score in run number 1.
A 93 there for Chelsea Denofa. And seeing that angle, I was kind of looking at it with the naked eye. We have our monitor in front of us, but looking at the angle there on the instant replay, it didn't look as dramatic as it was in the naked eye. So the judges really liking that line. But Ken Gucci still leads everybody with that 94, Denofa 93, Field 92, Yoshihara 91, Dylan Hughes quickly getting knocked down here by our current points leaders. JTP Justin Pollock up next in his Roush Performance Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. Justin Pollock, a good early initiation from him. You can hear that exhaust note just, you can see a little correction there as he zeroes in on the touch and go, fills that second outer zone. Ryan, just the progression of these drivers. Just knocking over that inner cone there, or the inner clip, so that will be a small deduction. I know Justin always likes just lighting them up past the finish line, but just the progression has just been amazing.
It has, and this run is not going to be 100, as you mentioned, a few little mistakes there from Justin Pollock, but certainly raising a lot of eyebrows in coming out of New Jersey with just taking it up another notch. And as he comes here to the second half of this run, you can see the huge angle coming out of that second outside zone and then through the final two inside clips, just with a couple mistakes right there coming off the bank. You can see he has a little bit of a waver, and then as he gets to that second outside zone, he eyes up that attacking position on that inside clip and makes the last S-turn look really solid there from Justin Pollock.
That's right, Mr. Perfect there in New Jersey. Well-deserved score by the judges, a perfect run, a 100-point run in New Jersey. And like you said, Ryan, I don't think this is... Then here it is. This is his qualifying run in New Jersey, riding the wall. Look at this transition and just that X factor right here. Look at that nasty transition, and that was just really what I think shined in the judges' eyes. Just that commitment, that extra, like I always like to say, X factor, just a differentiation between him and the other drivers.
Well, that was a really critical part of the track. A lot of drivers, would try that and maybe potentially loop out there or really slow down and lose the momentum. And that's constantly something that you hear from Ryan Lanteigne, who talks to us about judging, that if you're going to really angle up like that, you want to keep your momentum moving forward, because qualifying is really about setting up head-to-head. And he did that. He pushed it. He threaded the needle, and he was able to get something pretty historical.
And he gets a 90 here in Monroe at Evergreen Speedway, a 90 on his first run. Of course, that'll get him into the show as we are waiting for our next driver. Now, keep in mind that we have 30 drivers. The top 2 qualifiers will get automatic buys, but right now, Castro and Reeder have yet to get a score. As here we go with Vaughn Gittin Jr., that Monster Energy Nitto tire, Ford Mustang RTR Spec 5D. And here we go, leaving the start line. Again, another driver we saw out at Goodwood and debuting the chrome nose out there, and now he continued on with it here in the States. And Vaughn Gittin Jr. really tight to the wall. Big angle from him. And now drops it into the power alley, puts that back left into the touch and go, fills all of that second outer zone. And on both front clips, Vaughn Gittin Jr., big angle there from him, so well done from Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Well, another driver that's extremely hungry this year is Vaughn Gittin Jr. We've seen him do some of his best driving, but has stayed off the podium. Huge angle here on the bank. Tries to unwind it, but keep it smooth and consistent coming down off. He's just going to get to the edge of that touch and go. May have not got that full wheel in there, so may lose a few points there. But now as he gets to the last little S section here of those final 2 inside clips, makes it look really solid and good. Here it is. Let's take a look. He may have just got a little part of the tire into that touch and go. You can see he's back on throttle, very heavy there through that inside clip. And then nice fluid transition back around, keeping it tight without touching that final cone through the finish line.
All right, as Vaughn Gittin Jr. and his Nitto tire vehicle awaits his score. Next up will be Forrest Wang, currently sitting in 7th overall. Always a crowd favorite, Forrest Wang, the Keeley's Tire Yellow Speed Racing Energy Innovations S15, as Vaughn Gittin Jr. with an 86, and 86 for Vaughn Gittin Jr. 86 puts him into 12th position in qualifying. But still quite a few tires to burn here. Ken Gucci out front on those Achilles tires with a 94. Another Achilles driver, Forrest Wang. Again, always a crowd favorite. 2JZ under the hood of his S15 Sylvia. Can't even see the back end of that vehicle. Always creating his own clouds. You see him high on the bank. Now comes into that power alley. Big angle from Forrest Wang. Filling that second outer zone. Kind of a hiccup there. Not the normal smoothness that we have come to expect from Forrest Wang. Seemed like kind of had a little hiccup there.
Well, he got a nice initiation there, and remember, he started off the year phenomenally well with a podium in Long Beach. You see, it looks like he's fighting it a little bit there, trying to push that car deep into that outside zone. Big e-brake pull there as he tries to set himself up. Let's take a look at the touch and go. He gets in there, draws a nice line out to outside zone number 2, stays on throttle, brings it back around with that nice sweeping turn into the final last 2 inside clips. So the second half of the run really solid. Couple of mistakes up on the bank that he'll probably want to correct, but you can see that angle from Forrest. A very smoky run here overall as he comes through this inside clip here to set himself up for the final turn. It'll be a good run, scored. He'll be into tomorrow's competition, but certainly knowing Forrest, he'll want to improve on run number 2.
Yeah, again, I always talk about it with the first run, and then you go to look at the instant replay, and it doesn't look as dramatic, but just overall kind of, it looked like it's got a transition there. So, yeah, was it 85 and 85 there for Forrest Wang, and 85. Next up, the Polish driver I like to call the Candyman, Piotr Visik, the Wordhouse Drift Team Falcon tires, Nissan Silvia S15. And here comes, again, the Polish driver, Piotr Visik, down the chute, initiates right at that last standing cone. Another 2JZ powered S15 as Piotr now comes through into the power alley, really using all of it. Just barely gets into that touch and go, gets that second outer zone, and performs surgery on those inner clips. Ryan, what do you think of Piotr's run here?
Well, let's recall back to last year. He had a podium here, a third-place finish with James Dean taking the win, Osbo in second place, and this is where the championship really started to ramp up. Those three guys driving phenomenally. You can see the speed, a little bit of a hiccup there coming down off the bank. We see some drivers struggling with that, but it was a phenomenal bank run for Peter Vinsek, and finishing up the second half of the run overall looking pretty strong there. Let's take a look, see what happens here. He's lose some momentum coming down off the bank. He has to make an adjustment there. You can see the punctuation in the smoke line, really getting on the brakes there before he gets to outside zone number 2. But as he finishes up the run, he looks much better there. So a couple things that he can improve on for run number 2. He'll get a score here and move back and try to make those adjustments. And Jarod, we're seeing some drivers still kind of struggling with the transition off of the bank, really challenging. It's a long bank. It doesn't have a really, it's not steep like Wall or like Irwindale, but still very, very challenging.
Yeah, and it's very abrasive too, so it really eats up the tires. So I'm interested to see how, just with the progression of the vehicles, how much horsepower they're making, tire attrition, and making sure they have enough tire to finish it out. Because we have seen where they, as the score comes in, a 90 for Piotr Vinsek, a 9-0, that's a 90 for Piotr, puts him into 5th position. But we've seen where they loop it because they're basically like out of tire. They burn so much by the second battle all the way towards the end. They've run out of tread, and it definitely gets slick. So got not one, not two, but 3 2JZ powered S15s in a row. Started with Forrest, Piotr Vinsek, and now James Dean. That Wordhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tires S15. He is your 2-time and defending Formula Drift champ. Both him and Piotr out at Goodwood, as well as the Machine about to leave the start line. Currently sitting in 5th. We saw him get on the podium earlier this year without a win, but we have seen previous years, drivers win championships without getting a win. Just consistency of podiuming, getting up on the box. Here we go. James Dean, this first qualifying run. Looks very aggressive. You can see putting some more angle into it. And James Dean been doing a lot of driving. Oh, gets all the way out to that touch and go. Flicks it back in that second outer zone. Tight to the front clip. He's gunning for that Black Magic Top Qualifier Award, which currently is held by Ken Gucci so far, but still every driver getting 2 runs, and we still have 4 remaining on the first run.
Well, this is definitely some championship level driving. This is one of the reasons why we've seen him go back to back and why he is arguably the best drifter in the world. Gets right up against the wall, stays there on throttle through an area where we expect to see some decel. Goes a little bit wide on the touch and go, but great job getting out to that second outside zone. And then it's smooth sailing for James Dean all the way through as he pushes through the finish line there. This will certainly be one of the runs that we'll be looking at as a potential #1 qualifier. But as I said, Jarod, this is the year for other drivers to potentially dethrone the back-to-back champion, sitting in 5th place in points right now. And if it was a year to do it, this would be it, because he's got some room to make up here. But let's remember, he is the current winner of this event.
There you have it, a 95, a 9.5, a 95 for James Dean. Knocks out Ken Gucci from that #1 spot of a 94. So James the Machine Dean lives up to his name, and Ryan, you're talking him up, and there it is. So our 2-time and defending FD champion James Dean, he's just getting a lot of seat time, between competing in Drift Masters and here and different events and demos. I mean, he's constantly got a wheel in his hand. I think, a lot of these guys are doing ancillary stuff outside of the 8 rounds of Formula Drift competition. This is another one of them. Chris Forsberg has his show Drift This on Motor Trend TV. And right now, Chris the Force Forsberg ready to throw down this NOS energy drink, Nissan 370Z on Nexen tires. Forsberg initiates the Force in that GTR power plant under the hood of his 370Z. You can hear the exhaust note, just consistent all the way through. Gets out to that touch and go, transitions into that second outer zone. Really tight to that inner clip transitions. Does knock that final inner clip, so I believe there will be a deduction there, Ryan.
Well, if you want to see the commitment and consistency of the line, watch his front right wheel as he locks into this line and how it rides over the white painted lines in front. He pretty much stays right there the whole way. Quick e-brake pull to set himself up coming down off the bank. right into the edge of that touch and go, out to the outside zone. Now starting to rip through this second section of the course, those final 2 inside clips, and through the finish line he goes. So good start there for the 3-time champion Chris Forsberg, looking to lock in a top 5 qualifying run here, as he is currently in the top 5 in 4th place, looking for that unprecedented 4th championship, and he is certainly in striking condition here as we wait for his score in his run number 1.
As you said, Ryan currently sitting in 4th, a 91 for Forsberg, puts him into 5th position. As now we get into the top 3, and talking to both Forsberg and Ryan Turk, and here they are, just like as you said, Ryan, striking distance of leading as Ryan Turk in that gum out Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nitto tires. And here comes Ryan Turk out of the gate. Most recent winner in New Jersey, 2nd place in Atlanta. Wow, a lot of smoke coming off. You can even see on that front right, he's kicking off some smoke. Now comes off the bank into that touch and go. Doesn't get all the way out there, but definitely fills up that second outer zone. Transitioning, I mean, this thing making all sorts of wild noises. Make some noise for Ryan Turk in that gum out Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Again, 3rd overall in standings.
Yeah, an unbelievable season for Turk, considering he didn't even compete in Long Beach. Crashed that vehicle. We've talked about it a lot this year, but as he gets his first qualifying run, you can see he's a little bit off that outside bank, locking up those front wheels, trying to find a good positioning here. A little bit shallow through that touch and go area, but tight on that second outside zone. Hits that inside clip pretty well. Now pushing through this final section, avoids knocking over that last cone, but still kept it pretty tight. Let's take a look coming off of the bank here. You can see the setup as he reaches out to the touch and go. He's going to come up a little bit short there, so he left a few points on the table with the big bank. Remember, there's 2 sectors on the big bank because of how long it is, so 2 possible point scoring areas on that section of the course, as well as the touch and go. And let's see what Ryan Turk locks in here for his first run in qualifying.
So James Dean sitting out front, and a 92 for Ryan Turk, puts him into 4th position. Getting into our final 2 drivers, and just 3 points separating our current points leader, Frederick Osbo, and this man, Aramis Odibakshis. I saw his new son, Adam, with his wife. He's here in the building, his first drift event in person. So here we go. Odibakshis coming down, initiates. You can see, maybe see a little bit more angle from him, but now, just as I say that, you can see he definitely throws some more at it. Feels all of that touch and go, as well as all of that second outer zone, showing you why he won in Long Beach and Orlando. And he'd love to continue that reign of success.
Well, Odibakshis has become one of the most complete drivers in the Formula Drift Championship, with not only the great head-to-head matchups, the chase runs that he's known for, but really upping his qualifying game, getting those high point totals, so he's able to get himself good positioning. And you can see why here. He's very aggressive in his qualifying runs. He really listens to what the judges says, and he asks a lot of questions in the driver's meeting about what he needs to do in order to score high in qualifying. And right there, just glancing that outside zone, beautiful transition into that first inside clip, and then making it look nice and smooth through that final section of the course there is Odibakshis, just 3 points out of first place. He was leading the championship up until Wall, as Frederick Osbo took him over, but it is neck and neck, as they say, and drops a good run.
Yeah, good run indeed. A 91 there for Odibakshis, a 91 for the Falcon Tires driver. As Odie and the field suspension on the corners, the Falcon Tires on the corners as well. Throw it down as Frederick Osbo pulls to the line. Frederick Osbo, Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback on Nexen Tires. And we are clear to send Frederick Osbo, the former champ, 2nd overall. 2nd overall in the 2018 championship. All right, here we go. Frederick Osbo through the start chicane and down the chute. And here comes Osbo. You can see him, another driver locking up that front right. That Toyota Corolla, hot hatchback. Keeping really busy in his native country of Norway, but now throwing down here in Seattle. Big angle from Osbo. Very similar line to that of Chelsea to Nofa, and oh, look at that. Stranded, Ryan, and this is very interesting, and this could be very critical overall in the points. And yeah, look at that. You can see a ton of fluid out there on track, so that's going to shut it down here for a little bit. But track safety looks like they came over, but man, that shut down immediately. So yeah, there's definitely a mess between inner clip 1 and 2. Let's take a look at this again here, Ryan. Yeah, let's see if we can see what happened.
Well, it looked like from the onset he started kind of low, mid, and tried to work his way up, which is not typical of Osbo. It looks like the car may potentially not be powering the way that he wants to. It does not look like a typical Osbo run. Good angle there, but right about here, the car is going to slow, and he's going to stop. So losing power there, and then wisely takes it off of the course. Not sure if you can actually see anything unusual here, but obviously the car does come to a stop there, and I may have just abruptly lost power. From this side, let's see if we can see anything noticeable. So unfortunately, Jarod, for Frederick Osbo, a very interesting point for him. He will have to complete his next run in qualifying, and we did know that he was dealing with engine issues coming out of practice, and may have made to make some adjustments, and who knows if they held or not.
And this is really important. Again, your current points leader, maybe he doesn't qualify. Can he get the car back together? I mean, this really shakes things up considerably. Odi Bakshis, you know, you don't want to win that way, but a win's a win, advancement. So, man, we have 3 zeros after our first qualifying run. The must-haves, Travis Reeder, Jonathan Castro, and now our current points leader, Frederick Osbo, have incomplete runs. So we'll take a short commercial break. When we come back, we will continue on with Run 2 for qualifying. Run 2 for all the drivers here. Coming up next, when we come back here, Permatex Throwdown, presented by AutoZone, Round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship.
The Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship is brought to you by Black Magic, NOS, and by the U.S. Air Force.
Federico Sceriffo. I'm the driver of the Fiorella, that is the Ferrari 599 GDB from Triple F Drifting Department. Okay, yeah, soccer, handball, baseball, basketball. I love arch. I love it. I speak a broken Chinese, a broken Japanese, French decent, Spanish okay. It's the best thing that a man can do dressed. Nice. I'm so superstitious that I race with number 17, that is actually a bad luck number back home. That I'm number 1 and I have 7 lives like cats. And it has a more deep meaning, but we will go too far. I autographed maybe a baby's, the pinky, the one they keep in their mouth, right? Yeah, the plastic one with the thing, right? Maybe that one, and, well, tits, asses, I mean.
Hey guys, this is Robbie Nishida. I am here with Odi Bakchis, the owner of Field Suspension here at the Falcon booth. I just want to ask you a couple questions. Let's talk about gear ratio. How important is it for drifting, and what do you run, and what is the difference you made from the last event from Jersey to now here at Washington?
Gearing is super important. I guess in any race car, and drifting it's very important too, because we go on such a different variety of tracks. This is a very long and fast track, so I need to gear the car for a lot of wheel speed because the car itself is going really fast, and on top of that we got to spin our tires. So we want a lot of wheel speed, a lot of RPM in the rear tires. New Jersey, you asked about that. That's a really tight track. We gear the car to have a lot less wheel speed there because we're just moving at a slower pace in general. On top of that fundamental, hey, let's set up a good ratio between vehicle speed and tire speed, then it's up to the driver to fine tune it. We all have different power bands, and we want to be in that power band. So if we're kind of bogging the car, we change the gearing to slow down the wheel speed so that the car's in higher RPM all the time. Vice versa, if we're hitting rev limiter everywhere, judges don't like seeing that. We drivers don't like driving that because as soon as you hit rev limiter, you're not going any faster. Your momentum is just, bam, stop. If we're hitting rev limiter, we put more wheel speed in the car, then we're carrying more momentum. It looks better, the car feels better. There's so much you can do with gearing.
How do you adjust the gearing on your car?
So there's actually, most people are running a quick change differential. There's some Toyota teams out here that are physically changing the whole differential back and forth depending on what gear set they want. There's Speedway quick change differentials. There's Winters quick change differentials. I run a Speedway in this car. They're just local to me, so I chose to buy that product. It's basically a differential that allows you to change the gear sets in about 10 minutes. You don't have to take the whole differential out. You literally take 2 gears out and you grab 2 other gears that change the final drive. So it's very quick and easy. You have no excuse not to play around with gear sets and different gear ratios and fine tune your car.
Well, that's a secret from what you see with the cars with so much smoke. They have so much wheel speed on the cars. Thank you, Odi, and good luck.
Cool, thanks, man.
All right, welcome back. As we are getting prepared for our second runs, a little bit of a delay there. As we had Frederick Osbo, Ryan, that's pretty big news there. Frederick Osbo currently leads the points. Not only does he sprinkle the track, almost more than half the track with oil, and we have to clean it up, but that's huge for him to see if he can get his car back together, and that could, I mean, if he doesn't qualify, Odie is going to take that lead.
Yeah, well, knowing his team, let's not jump to any conclusions just yet, but the oil down was a bit more significant than we thought. You can see on track there that line of oil down that extends all the way to the beginning of the power alley. We saw Frederick Osbo and his vehicle shut down after inside clip number 1 and then go off track, but in fact his vehicle was dropping oil pretty much from the start of the power alley. So he will have that incomplete, but it's estimated that he probably has about an hour or so until he has to be back up for his next run, because we did finish the first run for each driver. We'll go back to the bottom now and start back again. As you mentioned, there are a couple zeros that are in the current lineup that need to be scored, so there's some pressure on quite a few drivers. And again, because we have Alex Hilbrun and Sebastien Gauthier, João Barrion, Alec Honadale, Mitch Larner, and Manuel Vaca are all out of competition, which means there's 2 open spots.
Yeah, but then also, Castro and Reeder, they have zeros as well.
Yeah, that's what I was mentioning right before that, is there's still a couple zeros out there. So open spots for sure at the top, and then a few other drivers that need to get some scores here on their second run.
All right, so it looks like we are restriping, so the drivers know exactly where the outside zone as well as the touch and go is, because as you can see, they are definitely hammering there, and it's a good idea to mark it and get it going. Torque Drift, if you haven't played or download Torque Drift, available on Apple Store and Google Play. Special in-game events running all weekend. So there's a brand new FD Monroe update now live. Cash, Bullion, FD Crate. So download Torque Drift. You can download a lot of the Formula Drift vehicles, including that vehicle right there. That's Odie Bakshi's. So download it now. Available on the App Store and Google Play. And vote for your favorite engine from each round of Formula Drift, and you have 2 chances to win a set of free JE Pistons. One set will be given away after Wall, New Jersey, which it's now, and then another set after Irwindale, California, the final round. Easy to enter. Just visit jepistons.com/Formula Drift. Cast your vote, submit your name, and email to enter. It's easy as that. 1, 2, 3, and you could win a set of free JE Pistons, as ran by Chris the Force Forsberg, 3-time Formula Drift champion. All right, and again, Ryan, taking a look overall, at our current point standings. Again, Odie Bakshi's, he's kind of maybe salivating at the mouth right now with knowing that Frederick Osbo, again, you don't want to ever see that, but hey, a win's a win or a lead is a lead.
Yeah, well, it definitely begs the question of what the strategy should be for the Papadakis racing team, how they should approach. I mean, you have to assume that they are not going to have any problems, even if they had to replace a motor during this time frame, that they can do that. We've seen them do it many, many times before. So you have to imagine that the other drivers are not expecting Frederick Osbo to not make it into the top 32. Right. And then the question is, how should he approach his second run? Does he go all out and go for that #1 spot, giving himself that berth right into the top 16? Mm-hmm. Or does he play a little bit safer and maybe just try to get a scoreable run, work and be down lower in the qualifying order, potentially giving himself an easier bracket path? We've seen that sometimes that at the lower end we have some really top drivers that we would typically see in the top 10 qualifying lower, and then having brackets that some people would argue are potentially easier to make it through those lineups before they get to guys that they may not have defeated in the past. So you know that many of the drivers and teams will be thinking about what the best strategy is. Right now the bracket is still kind of up in the air. We see where the general positions are. But we do have quite a few scores in the 90s, not as many as we've seen in the past. Right. So, this track is definitely challenging. There's been some attrition. We still have a couple incompletes that need to be revisited. And of course, we have this little break here that, unfortunately for Frederick Osbo, looked like a engine detonation on his first run in qualifying.
All right, so moving on to, here we go, back to the top of the order. Austin Meeks, Austin 316, this Ferocious Motorsports. Next entire Cadillac ATS-V from South Carolina. He does have a score. Again, the only drivers that have incompletes and are absent of a score are Travis Reeder, Jonathan Castro, and our points leader, Frederick Osbo. So it is do or die for those drivers. Other than that, all the other drivers are going to be seeing head-to-head competition. Austin Meeks on his first run had a 69. Here is Ferocious Motorsports' next entire Cadillac ATS-V. All right, let's see what Austin Meeks has here on his second run. See if he's going to push it even further than he did on his first run. Looks like already out of the gate, definitely doing that. Drops down off the bank, sets it right on that white line, mid to high, really overshooting that quick touch and go. Get to that second outer zone. And now around that final clip. Ryan, I think that's, what do you think? Do you think that's a little better than a 69 on his first run?
Well, the bank definitely looked a lot more smooth and consistent. Remember, he did have a problem coming down off of the bank. We saw a few drivers struggling with that, trying to find the right exit point. This time he comes off a bit smoother, but he pushes a little bit too hard, drops those 2, possibly 3 wheels off right near the touch and go area, so he'll receive a deduction there. Goes a little bit wide on that second inside clip. And I can actually see the judges in my peripheral here talking about whether or not that was too far off course. It's definitely 3 from that vantage point from the drone, so a very enlightening shot there. You can see that front right wheel actually surpassing the yellow line, Jarod, and we have seen the judges give incompletes for that in the past. It'd be really unfortunate if he wasn't able to get a second scored run, but let's make it official and see what the judges...
I mean, imagine if that was a wall. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
if that was a K-rail, he would have gone really hard into it. So
that'd be a big issue.
That'd be a major issue. So fortunately, it's not a wall, but that's how you kind of have to address it. Just like Travis Reeder with that straightening. Yeah, what's up, fellas? You guys are around the globe, and there it is. So unfortunately for Austin Meeks, that is an incomplete run, but fortunately for him, he does have a score, which means he will be seeing competition tomorrow. Next up, Kevin Lawrence. Injuku Racing, BC Racing, Achilles Tire, Competition Clutch, S14, coming to us from Orlando, Florida. And here comes K-Law, out of the chicane and through the chute. Very fluid, kind of just easing on into that initiation. That RB-powered S chassis, all the way out to touch and go. Really nice line there from K-Law. On the inner clips, transition 1, 2, and across the finish line.
Oh, that looks like a big improvement over his first run. You can see he got that nice smooth initiation. He got right back on the throttle very early. Nice smoke line here. Not super deep into the bank, but the line is looking pretty good overall outside of the proximity of the bank. Gets into the touch and go. Smooth transition here. Hits that inside clip nice and tight there. Stays on throttle. And then backs it up there with another smooth and consistent second inside clip right on that touch and go area. Locks himself into a good line coming into that outside zone. You can see that area, that decel area that the judges have marked. He basically did that exactly how it was laid out on that section of the track map. So I think this will be an improvement here for Kevin Lawrence.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you, Ryan. Kevin Lawrence awaits a score. He has 76 on his first run and an 89. So a considerable jump up, an 89 for Kevin Lawrence on his second run. As next up, Kyle Mohan, getting the bird's eye view of that Mazda Trix American Ethanol Mazda RX-8. He's on Nexen tires. And he is at the start line, ready to send it. Kyle the Menace Mohan from Long Beach, California. Has never podiumed after all these years of competition. Would love to see him get on the box. And goes to initiate and looks like shuts it down. So unfortunate for Kyle Mohan on his second run. That will be an incomplete, but he does have a 63 on his first run, Ryan.
Well, very fortunate there that he does have that scored run from the first run, as you mentioned, Jarod. And we did mention that it looked like the car was maybe giving him a little bit of problems there in the first run, and it is certainly giving him issues here in run number 2, so he will have to take that incomplete. He currently sits in 27th position, and he'll have between now and to tomorrow's competition to try to figure out what's going on as well as a practice session before the top 32 to get his vehicle in tip-top shape.
Mohan waves to the crowd, and they yell back. But as you said, Ryan, he's got all evening to figure out what's going on with the car. As Mohan makes his way back to the pits, you can still see that's how far Osbo pulled all that fluid across the track. On the start line, Dylan Hughes. He started out strong on his first run in '89. First driver in the, and it held for a while. You can see our Permatex Pro qualifying leaderboard. James Dean, top of the heap. At Wordhouse Drift Team Falcon Tires S15. Here comes Dylan Hughes. Keeley's tires on the corners is Permatex BMW. Winding it up into that big bank. Long bank again, Ryan. You're talking about it. Not as steep as Wall or as Wall or Irwindale, but really using all of that touch and go. Doesn't get super deep into that outer zone, but definitely finds himself there. Well done there from Dylan Hughes. Just some added confidence for him having and kicking things off with that 89. Does this better in?
Well, as you mentioned, it was a good run here in run number 1, run number 2, trying to back that up in the case of a tiebreaker here. Looks like he made a little bit of contact with the wall about midway through the bank. Now coming down off, he gets right into that touch and go. Great job there. Into that second outer zone. Maybe could have been a little bit deeper, but the two S-turns, or the S-turns here on those two inside clips look pretty solid there. And 89 looking to better that. Not sure it's going to do it, but he will have, oh, wow, look at that.
Oh, 89
right
and
there.
89, boom.
Yeah.
In like Flynn, so an 89, and Ryan, like you said, if somebody else has an 89, you know, you want to back it up with a solid score, and that's well done. One, son. As Federico Scerifo in the Ferrari, 599 Fiorella. Got rid of the superchargers this year, and again, that V12. Here we go. Federico Scerifo with a 79 on his first run. Here is his second. See what you got, Fetty. Comes into the bank. Wow, really looking strong. Man, making me a little bit nervous there on the bank. Out to that touch and go. Transitions into that second outer zone. Federico Scerifo on Nexen tires. Brings it around that final front clip, and that was a well-executed run, Ryan. Looks like he just reached down, got a little more there. Again, I think that's going to better 79. What do you think?
Well, the initiation was a little bit tentative there. He got a little bit, looked like he tried to initiate, break it the other way, and wasn't really able to get it to angle, so he'll have some deductions there. I don't think it was a failure to initiate, but as you said, the remainder of the run, the bank, the power alley coming out of the touch and go looked pretty solid and locked in nice and well there, but the judges will have to evaluate that initiation. From above, you could see that he had a little bit of a hiccup, was not able to lock quickly to angle and get that nice strong initiation that the judges are looking for. But the second half of the run, Jarod, looked very nice.
Yeah, definitely a hesitation on the initiation. Ironically, the American flag waving while the Italian driver behind the wheel of his Italian 599 Ferrari, 82. So he does better. So an 82 for Fetty on his second run. Well done for him. Triple F drifting department from Milan, Italy. Next up, Taylor Hull. Taylor Hull in his comp cams, Cadillac ATS-V. Comes out of the gate as the Achilles tires go ablaze. Really flying through that bank. Ripping into that touch and go. Gets out there. Oh, and a big hit on that back right corner. Exploding his taillight. Continues with it, though. And stays on in it, man. Takes a licking and keeps on ticking. Taylor Hull.
Well, we've seen some solid driving from him this weekend so far. He gets that initiation, rolls into it, back on the throttle. You can see he's mid-high, works his way up, tries to stay deep here as he can, coming down off the bank, looking smooth here. Stays on throttle, and then right here he's going to tap the wall. He will have an adjustment in the overall attitude of the vehicle, but he stays committed to the run, pushes all the way through, loses a little bit more of the vehicle coming through that final section of the course. Let's take a look at it from this angle here. It's just going to transition a little bit late as he made his way towards that outside zone. And he will receive a few deductions of points in that sector, but I don't think it will go incomplete as it wasn't straight for very long, if not at all. Just had that bump up against the wall. So let's see what the judges think here about that second run.
Yeah, full pull Taylor Hull, putting it down in his comp cams vehicle. And an 83 on his first run. His second run, a 77. So his first run, the better of the two. No risk it, no biscuit, though, right? So Taylor Hull with a 77 on his first run, currently sits in 20th position. Dan Burkett. Dan Burkett on his first run had a 79. The Rad Industries next entire Toyota Supra. Let's see if he can step it up. Rise to the occasion and rise to the wall. As he comes through, that chute initiates. You can see those banners. Yeah, it's definitely high. The banners actually, woo, look at that massive angle there. Throw some more at it and more. I think he certainly may have another. Oh, and he goes and exceeds that touch and go. I believe it's going to be 2 tires. Like the transition there from Dan. Totally radical, dude. So he had some really exciting things there, but unfortunately the 2 tires off. And yeah, let's take a look at it again though here, Ryan.
Well, we can see just how much precision is needed to find that right place to come off the bank. You can see he's having a couple little adjustments there. Now this is where it gets a little hairy there. He's going to drop, looks like 2 tires there from that angle. I like that transition background. Great angle there, but he does go a little bit wide on that first inside clip. Brings it back around to finish up strong there on that second inside clip. But as we take a look overall at Dan Burkett's score in his first run, he's sitting on that 79, so trying to move his way up here, see if he can get another run above 70, or a run above 79 to give himself a little bit more cushion there in the overall qualifying.
Nice little initiation there from that plane coming in, dropping in on us right near the airport. Look at that thing. Looks like it's going to fall from the sky. An 82, so he does better his first run. Locks in an 82 for Dan Burkett. All right, as Matt Kaufman. Matt Kaufman, the 959, the Ford power plant under the hood, or popping out of the hood of his S13. He's from right here and from the Pacific Northwest. As really good job there from Kaufman. Massive angle, transitions back into that final inner clip. Look at that huge angle from him. Like I said, I feel like he's really comfortable here being in his home area. You know, he is from Oregon, but just the Pacific Northwest, and he's had some time on this track.
Well, he seems to be building here. He gets that nice initiation. He locks into a line that he's comfortable with. It's pretty close to the wall here. He already has that 87 on that first run. Dances with the edge of the touch and go, but gets out to that outside zone. Really tight on that inside clip without knocking down or moving any cones, and the same thing for that last inside clip. So Kaufman looking good here. As we mentioned in his first run, he's had some success. He's just going to lose a few points on that touch and go. Didn't get the tires into that section, but I really like the aggressiveness of his driving, keeping it full throttle, pushing all the way through, and giving the judges something to think about here as he had that 87 in run number 1, trying to break into the 90s here and move his way up into the top 30 for tomorrow.
And Matt Kaufman with an 88, so he does better just by 1 point. Again, we'll take the better of the two, and Kaufman with an 88 on his second run. All right, moving on. Dirk Stratton here in this Lingenfelter Fortunato Achilles tire. Stratton Chevrolet Corvette comes us from Beloit, Ohio. Wow, did I ever leave Ohio? He had a good first run, again an 89. Or excuse me, 87, an 87 on his first run. And here comes the dagger, Dirk Stratton. Initiates right at the point. Oh, and he goes into the wall. Oh my goodness, losing a tire. And oh man, I know Stratton was having some issues with the, that's gonna be, fortunately for him, he does have a score, but I know they were throwing belts off of their blower. But Ryan, look, it looks like that might have been the issue.
Yeah, well, the front end washed out there and forced him into the wall. I don't know if we have that from above, from the drone, but certainly from that angle, you could definitely tell that it was an issue with the vehicle after initiation. Loses that
There he
rear
is.
wheel.
He's out of the car. He's okay. A round of applause for Dirk Stratton. Sorry to cut you off, Ryan, but definitely that's priority, is to make sure he's okay. So such a shame for him. All right, so as we will clean up here on aisle 1, Dirk Stratton takes off his lid, throws his helmet, and see what's going on here. But we saw the tire fly, and we will clean it up here. When we come back, we'll continue. Looks like might have a little bit of fire or something going on, but hose that thing down. And now the Stratton team, they're definitely going to have to put their heads down and get this thing back together, because they will be seeing head-to-head competition tomorrow. But they're going to need a thrash on this car. So when we come back, we'll take a short break. We'll continue here with the Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone, round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship.
Hi guys, I'm Dean Carney, the driver of the Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper here in Formula Drift. I don't know, a giraffe, I don't know. Drifting, and probably more drifting. I speak Irish English. Americans can't understand it, you know.
Possible a night, there'd be a full moon there about night and
Just, I think it's the evolution of the sport from a bunch of kids when we all started out probably 15 years ago or whatever, having a bit of fun, to it after becoming like a real thing, like a professional motorsport. So, yeah, but I'm not going to talk about them. Red Hot Chili Peppers.
is be able to drive all these amazing track with these talented drivers and share, have a good time on the track, literally. I used to get in trouble for being too honest. My best advice is to follow your dreams, be humble, and help others. I do not have pets, but I have a son, which is more, he's very helpful. I got so many heroes, my friend. Good friends that's been around me, my wife, my dad, so many, man. The crazy things I signed was the titties of the lady.
Welcome back here to the Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone, and throw down they do. And unfortunately, threw it into the wall. That was Dirk Stratton, unfortunately, right before we took this break. So all hands on deck for that Stratton vehicle and the Stratton team. So mom, dad, the whole fam, they're going to start working on that thing. So as we advance on, Ryan Littoral. So Dirk Stratton will see competition. Hopefully he can get it together. But Ryan Littoral right now, he's thrown down. He has a 79 on his first score. Now in this V8 350Z, operated by CoroWorks and owned by CoroWorks, the Power Stop CoroWorks vehicle. Ryan Littoral behind the wheel. Dips that tire outside of that touch and go, but just looks like just one. And now tight to that front clip. Transition into that final front clip goes Ryan Littoral. And Ryan, does that top a 79?
Yeah, I believe it will by a long shot. This run looks much more settled by Ryan Littoral.
Yeah.
You can see the line that he locked into is a really great line. He's nice and high up on there in the bank. He's not moving around at all. He gets right into the touch and go, goes a little bit wide, but really no real impact on the fluidity and the commitment here from him all the way back around. So I think this is going to well surpass the 79. I think he's going to see a really nice score here. Good performance from him overall. And Robbie Nishida agrees, and he's trying to convince me.
Prove me wrong. Oh, really? Oh, he's trying to convince you to judge? Oh, got it. Yeah, dude, why don't you could be a good judge.
There you go.
Boom, a 92, a 92. You're dodging the question. You're dodging the question, Ryan. A 92 for Ryan Littoral. What's up?
No, nothing.
Okay. Next up, Travis Reeder, do or die for this gentleman. Remember, he almost had a good run, and then he straightened out right before the finish line. So that deemed him an incomplete as Reeder now here in this LS-powered S13. They parked the Napoleon Motorsports electric Camaro. Oh, and that looks like 2 tires off. That will be a deduction, but hopefully he can keep it together here. Travis Reeder. Dang near killed her. There we go, bringing it across the finish line. So we did get a full pull there from Reeder. And again, following his social media, said they dynoed it, got more horsepower out of this hot rod. That took him that Pro 2 championship. Let's take a look.
Well, a lot of fingernails being bitten there. A nervous moment coming off the bank, but I think he kept it inside enough to not incomplete it because the run outside of that was pretty phenomenal. He had great angle on the bank, a nice line. Looks like his smooth driving is going to be paying off here. He's able to correct that mistake. You never want to see a driver go out on a 0. Let's take a look from above here. Let's see how far off he goes. He goes off quite a ways there, but it's just the 2 tires, and at that angle, still pretty significant. And we did see the judges give an incomplete for 3 tires off. So got really close there, but I think he will be able to move on with a scored run here. And we'll see where that slots in as he got real close to going off course.
Taking a look at social media here and seeing Frederick Osbo, all hands on deck, blown engine oil issues and qualifying, a no score as Reeder's score comes in at 85. So Reeder will be seeing competition, our next driver. So yeah, congrats to Reeder. He will be seeing head-to-head. Our next driver, Jonathan Castro, rounding out that Papadakis Racing team. But yeah, Ryan, social media here, you can see the team thrashing out the front end of that Rockstar Engineering Toyota Corolla.
Well, you know, not that you want to see that, but and also when you couple that with happened with Dirk Stratton, it is buying Osbo more time.
Ah, that's true, huh?
In being able to fix that vehicle.
Yeah, here we go. Jonathan Castro, he needs a score in order to see competition tomorrow. Here in this Jarod Metal Dum Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nexon tires. Gets out to that touch and go. Fills it, drips it, dips it. Nice job, Castro. And now brings around that final inner clip. Boom, there you go, Castro.
Well, with that, he'll be moving on into tomorrow's competition. It's just a matter of where the score is going to come in, taking that midline approach here, playing a little bit safe. He knows that really the strategy is just get a score on the board, and then we'll worry about where we are in the positioning. Gets to that touch and go. Nice job on that outside zone, inside clip, check that off. And the final turn here solidifies it'll be moving on into tomorrow's competition. So congratulations to Jonathan Castro being able to push through the pressure-filled run of run number 2 while having an incomplete on run number 1.
All right, so Castro waits to score as Jeff Jones. He's in the burnout box, warming up his tires, and it's an 87. An 87 there for Castro, and he will be seeing head-to-head competition. So far, everybody has a score except our current points leader, Frederick Osbo. So right now, if you're in the top 3, you would get a bye run from today into top 16. But if Osbo gets a score, the top 2 will have a bye run from today into top 16. Right now, James Dean has the fast pass into the top 16, but still plenty of tires to burn as Jeff Jones pulls up. There is our Permatex Pro qualifying leaderboard. The Goosh is loose. He is currently sitting second with that 94 on his Achilles tires, and Jeff Jones here on the start line. Let's see what the relentless one Jeff Jones has here on his second run. He had a 74, I believe it was, on his first score. Yeah, 74 there from Jeff Jones. And here he comes, that Doc. Woo, comes out blazing right now. You can see, look at that. This, Ryan, you pointed out there, riding that white line, and he was right there. Just barely goes over. On that transition, was a little bit hesitant there. But now comes around. Nice snap into that final front clip.
Well, it seems like a lot of these drivers are having a really steady improvement from run 1 to run 2. A little bit of an adjustment there, but then Jeff commits to this line. Could have been a little bit deeper, but remember, he had a couple mistakes coming off the bank. This time, he gets well into the touch and go, going a little bit off course, but the car is looking much more aggressive this time around. He also looks a lot more in control and settled here. So I think he's going to better that 74, and certainly that'll give him confidence. Let's take a look from above here. From the drone shot, coming down off the bank, you see the line there. He's just a tire off there, so it wasn't super dramatic. He didn't get all the way into that outside zone, but we're really seeing him come together here in this second run and put down a much more settled and confident run that we come to expect from Jeff Jones.
As Jeff Jones waits for his score, we enter into our top 20 drivers. Jonathan Castro sitting 20th, Jones 19th, and working our way to the top. Beautiful day out here at Evergreen Speedway. Hashtag FDSEA 86. Attaboy. Jeff Jones with an 86 on his second run. Jeff Jones. Next up, Kazuya Taguchi. The Achilles tire up garage S15. Definitely threw it down on his first run. He had an 88. So you can see he's up in the mix there. Currently sitting 15th, tied with a few other drivers. How is he going to back it up? You know, I mean, we're going to be seeing better and better scores here as Taguchi gets it in. Can't see the back half of that Sylvia. Throws some more angle at it right there towards the end of the bank. Dips that tire. Seems to be a pretty consistent line for everybody there. Quick little blip and lift. Oh, he overshoots that first inside clip. The line a little bit disrupted there for Taguchi. Ryan, do you think this better's an 88?
Well, I think the mistakes really were more apparent on the second half of the run than on first. He got a pretty good start there. A little bit slow to get back on throttle, but an incredible line here on the bank. Very little movement in the front wheels. He goes a little bit long on that touch and go, but great angle coming through that outside zone. However, right here, he does push wide on that inside clip, and then he has a much tighter line, so the momentum didn't really flow through the finish line. Let's take a look here. You can see where he drops the tire there. Huge angle there, but not getting all the way out to that zone. He's powering through this section of the course, but loses a little bit of the angle, and so he's moving a bit forward on a tighter line and is unable to get to that first inside clip, and then kind of crunched up right before that second inside clip where he couldn't have that smooth line going out to the finish line. So it's going to be close. There's going to be some mistakes there, but it'll be a good score backed up nonetheless.
All right, Kazuya Taguchi, 88 on his first run. Next driver was to be Alex Hilbrun. 81, and 81 there for Kazuya Taguchi. Does not better his first score. So again, Alex Hilbrun. No show for him. I know. Thanks. I appreciate it. I was just about to say. Easy there, Pat. Slow the roll. Slow your roll, bro. As Dean Carnage Carney here with 83 on his first run, the Achilles tire. Oracle Lighting Dodge Viper. Getting that bird's eye view. Let's see how he initiates. Right at that last standing cone. Into the bank. See that thing really dipping down on the bank. And then into that touch and go. Dips that back left and now into the second outer zone. really tight to the inner clip. Good execution there. Snappy transition. And brings it on home, Ryan.
So taking a look here at run number 2 from Dean Carney. Gets that early initiation at the second standing cone, back on throttle. You can see that little adjustment there from the angle side of things, and another one right there. So 2 little mistakes on the bank. Comes up a little bit short on that touch and go, and we've really seen some loose driving from Dean in past events where he just looked absolutely phenomenal. Still looking pretty solid here. He's going to have a nice easy berth into tomorrow's competition. But imagine that he'll take a look at these runs tonight, figure out what he needs to do. He is one of the quickest drivers in the chase position, always a threat. And he's had some solid events here in the past. So Dean Carney locking in this score on his second run. Let's see where it falls for the judges.
All right, as we're making clouds of our own here at Formula Drift, waiting for Dean Carney's score. And again, switching out from supercharged, and look at that, an 83. So he backs it up with the same score. So he was supercharged last year, this year going full turbo. As we move on to our next driver, Passionate Pat Gooden, coming to us from Florida, Indian Harbor Beach, Florida to be exact. The Achilles tire, 240SX. His Vortex Supercharged V8. Show me what you got. Passionate Pat. Doing it for Dale and Donna. Initiates. Locked and loaded. Pat Gooden. And into that touch and go. Look at that. Transitions into that second outer zone. Little pick 'em up truck there out of that outside zone and then into that final inner clip. This thing is just firing off.
Well, he
and,
had
the fans are loving it.
He had really nailed that bank. Again, watch the front right wheel hit this line and then stay very consistent all the way through. Now, right here, he pushes a little bit deep, almost goes into the wall there, makes an adjustment, but he's still able to get to the touch and go, get out to that outside zone, stay on the throttle through this first inside clip, snaps it back around, and look at the line that he draws out. Nice and wide there, keeps it fluid all the way through, but I really love the bank performance here up to this one point where he starts to scoot the butt out a little bit wide here to try to get that proper exit, and has to make a little bit of an adjustment. There you can see him leaving the touch and go. Beautiful job on that second outside zone. Nice angle through the first inside clip, and overall you can see that he is really feeling comfortable in this vehicle, and when that tends to happen, we get great results out of Pat Gooden like we saw at Road Atlanta. So now waiting for the judges to drop this score on run number 2.
Pat Gooden with an 87 on his first run. Does he better it? Ryan making some claims over here. All right, let's see what. Ryan claims. Looking into your crystal ball. A 91 there for Patrick Gooden. Good old Passionate Pat, the possum protector. 91. You're claiming you're an oracle now, Ryan? You're an oracle? Claims. All right, here we go. The Goosh on his Achilles tires. This Gretty Performance Toyota Racing Toyota 86. Sorry, Sherilyn, I was reading something, FYI. Here we go, the Goosh. He currently has a 94. Can he better it right now? Look at that. Getting very aggressive, Ryan. You're talking about just his tenacity and his aggressiveness. Looks like he wants to leave it all out on the track. Now transitions past. Little yank of the awesome lever. And there you go, the Viva Leva.
Well, this is going to be right up there, I think, just at first pass. Looking at Gucci, watch as he initiates. He's going to continue to increase the acceleration and lock in on this beautiful line way above the white line for a good chunk of both those sectors. A little bit of adjustment there from him as he comes down off the bank, but he's going to stay right in that touch and go area. Great angle, keeping the wheels spinning with good momentum through that outside zone and inside clip 1 and 2. So Ken putting together 2 solid runs back to back. Remember, he has that 94 that had him in the front of the pack for a while. Then he was superseded by James Dean. Battling back here, trying to get that #1 spot back, and it looks like it'll certainly be a contender in that general region, as Ken Gucci looking very solid here in Seattle.
Okay, so Goosh. Ryan, you trying to make claims here on the Goosh? Trying to see what kind of score he's bringing in? You can see the numbers just bouncing around your head. You look like a beautiful mind right now. Just carry the 1 over here. Okay. Oh, wow. 90. That's a 90. That's a 9-0. So he does not better his first run. You're out. You lost your power. You're done. Yeah, you're done. This guy's got some jokes up here. Ryan's just trying to claim what the score is, and he was wrong, so he blamed it on somebody else. That's odd. Taijiro Yoshihara up next. He leaves the start line. Turn 14 distribution. Ineos Oil. Falcon Tires, Subaru BRZ, this turbocharged LS engine. It sounds kind of like it's the sound embodiment of Daijiro's soft-spoken, traditional Japanese way. And now comes into the touch and go. Fills it up, hits quits, gets back to that second outer zone. Right there on the first hash mark. Dai Yoshihara going for the gusto. Height, well done there, Daijiro Yoshihara.
Well, people certainly appreciating that run, and you can see why. Very smooth and consistent. A lot of style there coming from Daijiro Yoshihara. Rolls right into that initiation, stays on a really nice line here on the big bank. Those 2 sectors ever so important. Slight adjustment there as he comes down off in that decel area. Perfect job on that outside touch and go, and then to the wall literally on that outside zone. Smooth right through here as he transitions from inside clip 1 to 2. And Dai looks like he's pretty happy with that run. Here he is coming off the bank, looking for that exit point. Gets into that touch and go right in the first half, and then he's able to draw a good line to that outside zone, and real smooth here through the finish section. So Daijiro Yoshihara, the first run good, and the second run possibly even better.
Boom, and you're right. Look at that. So you got your powers back. 94. Oh, making claims, and you're doing a little dance, a little jig. Is that a happy dance there? A 94. From a 91 to a 94 now here for Daijiro Yoshihara. So, oh, look at that. He knocks down Goosh. Oh, man, Goosh had the spot, but now it is 2 Falcon Tires with that 1 and 2. Now, remember, the top 2 qualifiers, automatic buy runs. But right now, Essa, he wants to go for it. Michael Essa, an 88 on his first run. Like to get into the 90s for bragging rights, and of course to get a good score. Michael Essa Autosports, Achilles Tire, BMW drops into that power alley, a little yank of the brake, filling that second outer zone, scrubbing some speed, but that was because threw a lot of angle at it on that second outer zone. Now bringing it across the finish line. Michael Essa, that Boost Brigade, Redline Oil. You can see iconwraps.com as we take a look at it again. Ryan.
Well, Essa, again, a nice initiation there. He's back on the throttle early. Good line here. He's pretty much almost above that white line near the edge of the bank there. Good motion off of the bank into that touch and go. Fluidity really apparent there as he gets in that outside zone, hits that clip, and then another final smooth transition to finish things up here is Michael Essa, 88 on run number 1. Really good job on the touch and go. You can see just how well he got the timing for that line to the outside zone.
And the judges talk about that, slowing the car with angle, as opposed to just locking them up, because think about that in a head-to-head competition, that'd been pretty sick. Like you see, really slowing it down, but not brake checking, right? But at 93, and there you go. But he got into that second outer zone. You saw the attitude of the car really just kind of gracefully get over to that first inner clip.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely a lot of style there from Michael Essa, and you can just see the fluidity really coming out strong there. The reason why we use those words, and that's because it describes something that we're looking for, and so the judge is really appreciating Michael Essa's second run there and puts him into the top 5.
The tire debris and rate to angle, those are definitely buzzwords of yours. Here we go, Matt Field, Falcon Tires, Borla exhaust, Corvette, the beast from the Bay. He's on that heat wave, riding it into the bank. Brings it into that touch and go, just flirting with that yellow line, out to that second outer zone, tight to the front clip, about the 1.5 hash mark. Transition was a little bit wonky there, but he did get it done. Ryan, let's look at it again here.
Well, 92, as you mentioned, for Matt Field, looking to improve on that. A lot of drivers in these final 10 spots in those 90s. Field, great job on the bank, very close there. Let's watch the front wheel, see if anything happens here. Looks like he made a little bit of a tiny adjustment there before he got into that touch and go, but it was pretty unnoticeable. Didn't seem to affect the vehicle too much. And right here you mentioned the transition right there, slowed up a little bit, but overall Matt Field has put together 2 solid runs here, and he does a great job getting into that touch and go. right out to that outside zone, very tight on that inside clip, and then right there trying to surge forward and keep that momentum flowing through the finish line.
I like it. That looks good. I just love, you know, obviously the Corvettes and just how they've expanded that HGK body kit. Looks good, and happy that Matt is really just getting more and more comfortable with that Corvette. I mean, it's like he's driving an S chassis again. You know, Pat Gooden is behind the wheel of the vehicle that took Matt Field to a few podiums. So he doesn't, unfortunately, better his first run, but still a 92. Nothing to bat an eye at, and currently sits in 6th position. Chelsea Denofa, we talked about him getting to a little tussle there with Piotr Visick earlier. Did not phase him, and I have a feeling that Denofa is really going to go for it here. He has a 93, sitting in the top 5. Let's see what Denofa can do. See if he can boof it. Here we go. Nice job. Backs it into that outside zone. Could definitely be a little higher there, Ryan. I like how aggressive he is, but seems to position the car. Look at that angle there into that touch and go. See how he really hangs out late on that outer zone, setting him up to just dive in on that inner clip, and that's a unique line compared to a lot of the other drivers, Ryan. Let's analyze it and break it down again.
Well, the line was consistent on the bank from Denofa, but as you mentioned, it could have been a little bit deeper. You can see he's on the inside of that white line quite a bit. The higher scores have been up near the wall. Comes down off. You can see he's still surging forward. He's got good lock in the car with good angle, massive angle through the touch and go, huge angle through that outside zone, and amazing that he's still able to take that wide sweeping turn and get back to that first inside clip. Here it is coming off the bank. Watch the angle that is just really huge there on both sides, not only on the touch and go, but on that outside zone. And then massive angle there to make it back around, kind of late apexes that first inside clip, and then finishes up strong. This is what we come to expect from Chelsea Denofa. Very aggressive runs, very, very fan favorite style type runs, just really doing things that we don't really see often, and again, really making it super exciting.
Yeah, very stylish there from Chelsea Denofa, as we are now getting into top 10. Denofa sitting 10th overall, and the clock is still ticking there for Frederick Osbo. Can he get it back together? Matt Field's second score was a 90, so Matt Field had a 92 on his first run and a 90 on his second. Denofa with a 93 on his first and a 93 on his second. So consistency is key, Ryan. Consistency is strong with this one. As JTP Justin Pollock is up next, so some more Mustang gang in the building as JTP Justin Pollock and his Roush Performance Falcon Tires Ford Mustang. Pollock had a 90 on his first run, and here comes JTP. JTP, look at that again. Wow, really getting close to that wall. And now comes down into the power alley. Another driver dipping that back left just beyond that touch and go area. Tight to the front clip. A lot of confidence coming from our previous round in New Jersey. He scored the 100-point score, which hasn't been done in how many years was it? 7 years, 8 years?
Maybe more than that.
Maybe more than that, but yeah.
Well, Justin Pollock here on the second run. Watch as he comes and exits the bank here. The wheels are going to be still spinning very quickly. He's back on throttle there, basically ignoring that decel area, which is perfectly allowed by the judges. So JTP really confident on that area of the course. Looks like he is putting together another solid run here in run number 2. Here he is coming down off the bank just a little bit wide on that touch and go and on the inside of that yellow painted line for outside zone 2. But a very aggressive run here from Justin Pollock. We're not going to see the 100 here today at Evergreen Speedway from him, but no doubt 2 good runs back to back. He had that 90 on run number 1 and now trying to back it up.
And there it is, a 93 on his second run. He does better his first run, which was a 90. So JTP jumps up, currently sitting in 5th. So shaking things up a little bit as we enter into our top 10. Vaughn Gittin Jr. had an 86 on his first run. And this Monster Energy Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Here we go, Vaughn Gittin Jr. throws it in. That chrome nose. Being debuted here in Seattle, could be higher on the bank. But let's see if he throws it down and does not get all the way out to that touch and go, Ryan. Uncharacteristic driving here by Vaughn Gittin Jr. Definitely I know he likes to go for it, maybe saving it for head-to-head tomorrow. And does this better in 86, we will see. And let's take a look at it here again.
Well, as you mentioned, yeah, leaving a few points on the table there. He's on a midline here, doesn't get above that white line. So just maybe playing it safe here and saving it for tomorrow's competition on the inside of that touch and go, but very fast through the course, pretty aggressive run here. Probably just a few line points going to be adjusted for the big bank and the touch and go outside zone 2. But Vaughn Gittin Jr. looking very strong overall this weekend in that vehicle. We've seen some great practice runs from him, and we're always very excited to watch the top 32 practice in the morning of competition to see how the guys are matching up against each other as we head to head-to-head competition. But waiting for Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s score to see if he can better that 86.
No, he doesn't. He just gets another 86. So a lot of these guys getting the same scores here on the first and their second. All right, here we go. Moving on to Forrest Wang, Achilles Tire, Yellow Speed Racing, Energy Innovations, S15. And Ryan, would you agree with me? It seemed like on his first run just didn't seem as fluid as we're normally used to seeing as you shake your head in acknowledgement. So just to let you know that Ryan does agree with me. Here we go. Forrest Wang initiates into the bank and throws it down. Now it looks like he's found, see, look at it, not as high. You see he has to work his way back up as Wang. Gonna have to talk to him here during the not during the halftime, but when we're completed here, see if he's 100%, see if he can get it back up in running order as he brings it around that final clip. Seems like he's got that section dialed, but having a bit of a struggle on the bank, Ryan.
Yeah, you mentioned it. He is above the white line here, but he's going to drive down pretty quickly here, so leaving a lot of points on the table. And unfortunately, that was going to be in both sectors of the bank. So we'll see some deductions in that portion of the course. Wang trying to get back onto it now. You can see the transition to outside zone 2 was a little bit slow and not as fluid and dynamic as we usually see from Forrest Wang. So yeah, definitely want to hear from him, see how the car is performing this weekend. We know setup is incredibly important, as it is at all tracks, but drivers using those 12 laps that they do have prior to qualifying in order to get the vehicle in the best possible conditions. Sometimes they're able to pretty early on. Sometimes it takes a little bit more time. So let's see how Forrest does in his performance on run number 2.
So an 85 on his first run, as just we wait for his second score. As I say, it just bears repeating. Beautiful day out here, and 85. So another driver duplicating their first score, currently sitting in 20th. So 85 and 85 currently sits him in 22nd. We'll see if that changes, and I don't think it should, because all the other drivers, their scores have exceeded that. So our final 6 drivers remain. Piotr Visek just sitting outside that top 5, as Piotr Visek, Workhouse Drift Team, Falcon Tires S15 from Poland. The Candyman is coming down the chute. Wow, look at that. Quickly gets to the wall, blends in. The blue and white. Wow, look at Piotr Visek going for it. Phew! Gets out of the touch and go. Great execution. Transitions in that second outer zone. Dials in on the front clip. Piotr Visek, man, between his first run and now, finding that special juice. Woo!
Definitely very well appreciated by the fans here on site, and for good reason. You mentioned on the initiation watch, he locks into this nice high line right out of the gate. He's not working his way up. He's committed to that line very close to the edge of the bank. A little tiny adjustment there about midway through, but he's blazing through. He gets into that outside touch and go, and he stays in it very late. We'll want to see from above how he did on that second outside zone. But in terms of speed, fluidity, commitment, it's all there. Here it is. Let's watch the touch and go. He's going to stay and do it long, but he still absolutely murders that second outside zone.
Boom.
A great job by him. This will certainly go well into the 90s, and this could be right up there with our top qualifiers.
Yeah, and again, a 95 leads the pack here, and that is his Wordhouse Drift Team teammate, James Dean. Homeboy's dabbing on him. Piotr Visek's dabbing on him right now as we are ready to go. Sun's out, guns out. Yeah, are we doing YMCA? Nice, well done. 98, a 98 for Piotr Visek. Near perfect run for the Candyman. You gotta love it. Did you see they started a web series, him and James Dean, and they called it, did you see it? A little bit, yeah. Yeah, it's good. It's called Candy Machine. Which is great. So the Candy Man and the Candy Machine. So speaking of him, Peter Visick says, cool story, bro. I'm going to top you.
Are you proud of that?
I am proud of that. Yeah,
okay.
1,000%, of course, because it just stuck and he embraced it, right? I mean, right? You know, you don't choose your nickname. Your nickname chooses you.
Right, right.
So, yeah. All right, here we go. James the Machine Dean. Here we go, throwing it in. And we just saw a vehicle that looks almost identical, but definitely not. And he's going to try to top his teammate. Again, these two guys are the top two qualifiers right now, but a few drivers left. Oh, and James looks like he throws it out, maybe salvages that. Wow. Wow. I'm sure he was just banging away on that clutch to save that thing. I don't know. That was pretty impressive, but is that scoreable there? Lanteigne's got a big grin on his face.
He was well on his way, but it was a critical mistake there. Let's take a look.
Is that chaseable? That's the question.
Yeah,
right?
let's take a look at the big bank. I mean, very close to Peter. He was nice and high on the bank. Beautifully done coming off. He gets a good line there. Massive angle from him that he's not able to hold. He really slows it down. That would be hard to chase in the chase position, so I could see if the judges go that direction, but I think they may still potentially score it. Let's watch the forward momentum. Huge angle there, and oh yeah, he's really slowing down there. Gets back on the throttle. He still makes it look good. I mean, yeah. James Dean, two-time champion, back-to-back defending. He will not be beating Peter Visick this round in terms of qualifying, but no doubt very fun to watch.
That's incomplete from James Dean, unfortunately. So the flick of the Irish got him in trouble there on that second outer zone. I mean, those lights are fantastic. Here we go, moving on to our next driver, three-time Formula Drift champion, Chris the Force Forsberg, currently sitting in fourth. We saw him on the podium earlier this year. Can he do it again here in Seattle? The NOS Energy Drink Nissan 370Z on Nexen tires. From Doylestown, Pennsylvania, one of the FD veterans. Again, check out Drift This on Motor Trend on demand. Here we go, coming in to that first outer zone. Again, the GTR power plant under the hood of his 370Z. Looks like his power plant really working out for him this year. Looks like doesn't get all the way out to the touch and go, locks it into that second outer zone, about the second hash mark on the first inner clip, and number one hash mark on that final one. Ryan, he had a 91 on his first run.
So trying to move his way into the top 5 if he can, gets a good start here. He's right on that white line, designating the highest portion of the bank. Comes off the bank, keeping those wheels moving forward, but he's going to come up a little bit short on the touch and go, and that causes him to not really fill that outside zone as deep as he probably could. Very smooth, fluid motion here for the three-time champ, and he will finish up his run. We'll see how that compares to the first run. Here he is coming off the bank. You can see he comes up a little bit short there, and that caused him to miss that second outside zone. So through the power alley, he was in the center there, not getting out to the wall. And he'll leave a few points on the table there, as Chris will now finish up his day and see where he slots into the tandem bracket for tomorrow.
All right, here we go as we await Chris Forsberg's score. Again, a 91 as we approach the do-or-die situation of Frederick, the Norwegian Hammer Osbo. So a 90 on his second run. His first run of a 91 is the better of the two. He's currently, and look at that, a score of a 91, still not even in the top 10. As Ryan Turk, his Blackout teammate, they have their Blackout series on Gum Out and Black Magic's page. Check that out. Both Ryan Turk and Chris Forsberg, and also Dylan Hughes. Here we go. Ryan Turk with a 92 on his first run. Most recent victor in New Jersey, round 4. This is round 5. Ryan Turk comes out swinging that Gum Out Toyota Racing Toyota 86 on Nitto tires. Looks like he started out high, works his way down a little bit. Let's see how he works his way into the power alley. Gets all the way out to the touch and go, hits, quits, into the second outer zone, fills all of it, tight to the front clip. 1, 2, 3 times a lady. Here you go. Ryan Turk brings it across the finish line.
Well, looking good for Turk on this second run. Just from memory, looks like he's going to improve on the bank a little bit here. You can see he's right on that white line. He moves up above it for a second there, then back down, and then starts to try to find an exit spot here to get out to that touch and go, which he does do right at the edge. Pretty good job on that second outside zone, right up near the wall. Second hash mark between the first and second hash mark on that inside clip, and then finishing up strong through that final section. Here he is right here. You can see just getting into that touch and go, and really well done. Nice and tight on that outside zone. So Ryan Turk I think he may improve here from run 1 to run number 2 and continue that momentum. It would be great for him if he's able to get that number 1 or number 2 spot. I don't know if it's going to go as high as Pieter's, but he may improve into the 90s here and move up a few spots.
Yeah, Pieter holding on to that Black Magic Top Qualifier Award. He still holds on to a 94, though, for Ryan Turk. He betters the 92 on his first run to a 94 on this second run. Ryan, I'm looking over there at the Rockstar pit. I saw Stefan Papadakis on his signature scooter rolling around over there. So only this vehicle, and next up will be Frederick Osbo, our current points leader. But this gentleman, Odi Bakshis, only 3 points separate him and the points leader. Odi Bakshis, Falcon tires, field suspension, S14.5. Let's see what you got, Odi. You had a 91 on your first run. You can see our top 5. So Visick and James Dean, 1 and 2. Automatic buy. You can see Odi locking up that front right wheel. Wow, really getting high to the wall. Tight to, taps that wall, and it throws him off. Looks like that will be an incomplete. We saw 3 off, and that's completely off. They're really going for it, and tapping the wall at the latter portion of that outer zone, Ryan. So, you got to think strategy here, right? He wants to get one of those top 2 spots in order to really just solidify and advance on the top 16.
Well, he knew that was going to be a huge opportunity for him. He was pushing extremely hard, and then right there he taps the wall. The fronts come a little bit straight, and he's not on the same line. He goes off course quite a ways there. And Odi Bakshis doing what he probably should be doing as a contender for the championship, only 3 points away, pushing right up to that limit. Let's take a look as he goes right into the wall there. You can see he makes that adjustment. Here's the yellow line. So, yeah, he's going to go way off course there. And now that he's got this run over and our attention focuses to Frederick Osbo, one thing
he's on the line
to bear in mind here is that Osbo, after changing the motor, it has not been able to make a full pull in that vehicle, Jarod, and we see the confirmation here from Odi.
Wow. So yeah, sorry.
Osbo's got that new motor in the vehicle, presumably from what we saw on social media and also talking to people up here. The best he's going to be able to do is get those tire scrubs.
Yeah, so here it is. Here is the replay of what happened with Frederick Osbo. So watch, and it looks like right here is when the engine lets go, actually, because he left an oil trail all the way back there just after he got off the bank, and then bloop, dead in the water. That is not smoke coming from his tires. That's coming from his engine. But he just put up, again, we were talking about social media. He put up the post 40 minutes ago, as Robbie was pointing out to me, and I said, put that post up 40 minutes. Round of applause for the mechanics over there in their pit, Papadakis Racing Team. And again, all the mechanics, the unsung heroes, it's always about the cars and the stars and the drivers, but there are hardworking teams behind every single team. So here we go, Frederick Osbo, do or die. Is he going to continue on? Look at this, the Norwegian Hammer, delivering so far, so good. Could definitely be a little higher there, but good angle from him coming to that touch and go. Dips it in, gets that second outer zone. This is the point of no return, transitions here, and it looks like Frederick Osbo will continue on in head-to-head. So our number 1 and number 2 qualifier will get a bye run where Frederick Osbo lands as the Motegi Racing wheels spin around. What's that?
I was worried for a second here because there was a little bit of a lack of smoke coming off the vehicle, not the huge plume that we typically see from Freddie and that vehicle from Papadakis Racing, but as you said, he is going to get into the top 34 tomorrow. It's really, at this point, inconsequential where he goes because he's not going to be getting that bye. He's going to be lining up against somebody in the round of 32, but he still is able to perform here under the pressure, so congratulations to Frederick Osbo and his team for making it back and filling one of those spots in the top 32 after a very pressurized hour that we've had waiting for them to see if they're going to be able to get the vehicle fixed.
And look at that. Tune in tomorrow, 1:30 Pacific time. See Pro Top 32. We have the halftime show at 4:30, and then 5 o'clock is Top 16 opening ceremonies, national anthem, all the good stuff here at Permatex Throwdown presented by AutoZone. Where's Frederick Osbo going to land? Let's find out here. from our scores. And again, we have our autograph session for those that are here in the building at 88. So far from getting one of those top 2 spots. So that means Peter Visick and James Dean, the Wordhouse boys, they're going to be fast passing their way into the top 16. So the Candy Machine continues their success here in Seattle, Monroe, Washington, Evergreen Speedway. On behalf of Ryan Sage and our whole team, thank you for joining us here. Qualifying round 5. That is a wrap here at round 5 of the Formula Drift Black Magic Pro Championship. I am Jarod DeAnda, and we will send it tomorrow for round 5. It's game day tomorrow, but now enjoy the sights and sounds. If you're here in the building, the autograph session going down here in just a little bit. And Randy, shout out to you, as well as Kyle Cross's son. And yeah, Kyle, Mason, how you doing, bud? Thanks for watching Formula Drift. Send it.